deceive. We have come into the night, thunder and rage in war at night. We have come into the night, thunder and rage in war at night. We'll fight for kings, for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. The sounds of arms, fierce morality. Nightfall, the rain, and the silence leads. We have come into the night, thunder and rage in war at night. We have come into the night, thunder and rage in war at night. We'll fight for kings, for Ragnarok. Shield wall. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla.
But pretty much
Hello,
all of them.
everybody, and welcome to some Valhalla Esports, League of Legends action. Joined by the wonderful casters Malco and Halfling tonight. How you guys doing?
You already know we here, we're ready to cast, we're ready to get into this. Energy's here. I just got off.
I've been snapping into Slim Jim. I just finished up school. It's time to cast. Time to fill my free time with something else.
There you go. Congratulations on finishing up at least a semester. If
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you just said, did you say you graduated or was it a semester?
No, just semester. Everyone else around me is graduating. No,
Gotcha,
I'm
gotcha.
lazy.
Thank you, Evbot, for the Prime subscription. You get your 30 days of love from Valhalla Esports at least. I have Halfling as loud as I can get him, so you're just gonna
I'll work on it.
You're gonna have to raise them up yourself there, Fluffy.
I'll
Alright.
just talk louder. It's okay.
Yeah,
Get a little bit loud up in here.
But tonight we're checking out the games between Stoner Nation and Bomba Bros. Both for playoff contention, if not just seeding. Bomba Bros slightly safer. They were sitting at 4-4 coming into this week. Stoner Nation at 3-5, so a must-win for them. But we see the lineups here. What do you guys think about the two teams?
I'm excited for this top lane matchup. Not only is it against Evbot, who I've actually consistently casted a decent amount of, and it's always really funny because if there's anybody who I feel is a very, very strong member of Bomba Bros, it's generally Evbot is someone I tend to think about a lot. And then he's going up against Flame, who tends to be one of our more recognized top laners in the league. So this is actually looking like a very interesting matchup, at least from my own personal viewpoint, just because I've seen and casted both of these players before, and literally both of them are like, they can both have some serious highlight reels in games, and they can actually solo carry potentially. So this is actually looking like a really damn good matchup.
For me, since as a support and as someone who's played against Bomber Bros and Stoner's Nation, I do remember this. It is very much a battle of the weak side bot lanes here. more so than the top lanes, because I feel like I have a good idea how the top side of the map's going to go, but it's going to kind of see which team with the lowest resources in the bot lane can still come out on top. So it'll be really interesting to see how creative these teams get and how much they use those little resources that come down to them.
I was gonna say Bomba Delicious, I've noticed, is a very like he doesn't focus as much on mid as I do generally see him on the side lanes, and I feel that this is gonna be a game that's won by who is really focusing more on that bot lane and which bot lane can get ahead. Because as I mentioned before, the two top laners, that should be a damn good matchup. But then I'm expecting potentially coming from I really expect the jungle bot lane matchup to really determine if this game is at least game one definitely is going to end up being a winner.
For sure. I know from our games, we played Stoner Nation. I'm on Kraken Slayers last week. Flame, as we said, very big carry, but the rest of them are performing well. So we'll see if they can bring it this final week and try to make their way into the playoffs. But let's go ahead and jump towards this draft number 1 and see how they get the series started off. Definitely a good band from Bomba Bros, the Camille. Flame played it last week. Popped off on it really hard, so definitely one good band for them. You don't. You should hear Malco and Halfling. Can you not hear them? Really? Damn. Let me know if you can hear them now. Can you hear them now? Nope. What the? It's showing on here. It's going. What if I turn off studio mode? Try talking now. The fuck? Maybe if I go off of it and back onto it. Try now. It's so weird. It's showing in this that it's picking up. The fuck? Yeah, it's It's not on your end. Oh, the eye. I see. Okay, there we go. Now talk. It's all frozen now. What the fuck? There we go. Now they should hear you.
All right, we should. Yep. I just got picked up. There we go, everybody.
All right,
You guys should be able to hear me now.
Re-go over the draft. They didn't hear anything.
All right, you guys didn't hear a damn thing I just said, but luckily we can go right through the draft once again. As we saw Bomba Bros to go through the full bans, they end up banning out Camille, Ash, Elise, Olaf, Gwen, and we see for Stoner Nation they end up banning out Pantheon, Zaya, Nico, Mordekaiser, Zareth. For Bomba Bros, the full team lineup is gonna go as their roles and their picks. It's looking like Gragas top, Jarvan jungle, mid lane Syndra, ADC Tristana, support Rakan, and for Stoner Nation, it looks like Aatrox top, Sejuani jungle, Galio mid, ADC Lucian, and support Melio.
Yeah, I don't mind these lineups, so to say. I'm not the biggest fan of seeing Lucian being picked blind on R2 here, especially into just J4. The idea is you have the dash, but there's so many 80 carries still available, and only banning Zaya and seeing Ash banned out, it doesn't give Lucian the ability to actually be picked here. And the idea is Millie is meant to cover up for that weakness. And I can see it working in some cases, but Rakan's a really good response here from Bomba Bros into that bot lane. And these two kind of 3v3s bot lanes, I heavily favor Bomba Bros in here. I think Rakan's such a much more reliable CC champion compared to just Sejuani in this case. But in terms of that top side and any of the 2v2 and 3v3 combinations that we can see here, I heavily favor Stoner's Nation. Stoner's Nation's got all the melee champions for Sejuani to do her job, and Syndra doesn't exactly provide as much damage as you'd like early game, and I think the CC from Galio is going to be able to make up just for that difference. At least in draft, of course, we can see things play differently here once we get into game.
And Hailstrom, if you have any quick thoughts that you would like to tune into, if not, I think we're good to get ready into game.
I think I'm all good. Let me get the game all loaded up. Apologies for the technical difficulties, but we're good now. So hopefully the rest of the stream will be smooth for us as we get this game one loaded up. If anybody else has their Prime subs available, we would appreciate having them. We'll give you our 30 days of love, and you'll help support the Valhalla Esports in general. I think someone marked these games wrong on me. I gotta figure out which one's which. That's great. Alright, what about this one?
Make sure we'll do a quick cry into the microphones before the game goes on.
Are these two the same? That would be unfortunate. Someone from Bomba Bros, do you have game one from the series, potentially? I think your game one was saved as the wrong file.
Technical difficulties is getting us today.
Apparently. Have DM.
Yeah, there's actually been I kind of agree with Melkor here. There's been a couple games at least I've casted where I've seen Flame in some series literally save you guys. I think there was one where he played, was it Aatrox he was playing? I can't remember, but he absolutely stomped in that game to be able to bring you guys from the brink. It was crazy to watch.
Alright, looking at what I have, I should just need game 1. Looks like games 2 and 3 are correct. So, you guys talk about it a little more until I am sent this
Yes.
VOD. Looks like I just got sent it.
Oh, there we go. That was quick.
You can just DM it to me right here, Fluffy.
That was quick, getting right on it, guys. Appreciate you guys. Sorry for the technical difficulties tonight. You know, as we as we continue, sometimes it just happens. But aside from that, we're about to get right into the games, guys. Are you guys actually excited? We could probably get a poll up too while we're waiting for that. Or would that be counterintuitive?
I can do a poll. I've been avoiding doing stream points on VOD games just because, you know, a lot of times the people watching know what happened.
True.
But we can do a poll. Dash poll. Wins game 1.
So everybody in the chat, real quick, give me a quick if you guys would think this is a good idea. Would you guys like to start seeing us do an overall who's gonna win the series poll as well in the very beginning, like maybe during the intro or something, like, or maybe after the intro as we're talking about the players and stuff? Would you guys like, and we're talking about the matchups, would you guys like to actually like have a poll up of who you guys think will overall win the series? And then like if you want to see something like that added to the broadcast, I kind of thought about that idea a little while ago, but I'm you know, curious. Try to get a little bit more you know, activity going on in the chat and stuff like that. And now you guys see the poll for game 1 is currently up. I personally don't watch like I try to avoid the results of my own personal whim, because it just allows me, if I have to cast VODs later on, I don't know the results, so it makes it a little bit more exciting for me. But definitely looking like right now, I kind of want to give it to like Bomba Bros. Just for like just the way they kind of responded, even though I'm seeing some people saying that Galio should have been banned, and I'm curious as to why that's being said. So this is gonna be pretty interesting, I think, for a mid lane matchup at the very least.
I know for the series they had last week against us, they used the Galio very well from that mid lane. So if it was someone from my team, that was probably why they were saying it should have been banned.
And from like a
Thank you, Fluffy. You just got the file. Let me try and get this loaded up real quick for us.
from like a an analytical standpoint, Galio here is a fairly good pick, even if the champion isn't the best right now. He can provide a lot of the instant CC that Sejuani lacks a lot of. You kind of wait for her E stacks to come through, and if Aatrox goes for a risky dive or Sejuani goes for a risky dive, Galio being there almost immediately to follow up is a good way to kind of make a bad engage turn into a really good engage, and provide the magic shield for a lot of champions that he's on top.
And we're getting into the game finally.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
It's alright. We just all wanted to chat for a little bit before we watch some games, so we all get to hang out.
Minions have spawned.
Yeah. Hang on. This fucking thing. Oh, again, it's most annoying where I like set it all up.
Test.
Hello, hello, hello.
I want to pin that.
It's
tab
live.
on Google.
Done
It's
it.
alive.
It's live, but they should be able to
Alright,
hear it.
Yep.
let's go.
Oh, everybody can hear us. We're good to go. We're good to go. I like the call from Fluffy. We need the casters for this. Yes, absolutely necessary, man. You need your casters. And we're already seeing Flame starting to establish a little bit of the dominance up there in the top side. I'm actually very curious. I've never seen the Gragas versus Aatrox matchup, so I just know that Aatrox is, depending against who he's going up against. It's usually like all of a sudden Aatrox becomes completely favored in like the later point of the laning phase.
Yeah, one of the options this matchup that Aatrox can go, you can kind of see Flame looking for those trades, is just going for the Q1 trades with Arcade. But it looks like J4's your mid lane.
Ends up landing the Scatter the Weak right onto it, having the flash away as we go right into a top lanes fight. Jarvan able to do quite a bit there to, get boosted sandwich to have to go ahead and use the flash to get away. Which, I mean, that's a pretty good advantage for the Syndra there, I would say at the very least. Flame and F-Bot both sitting here fighting, and Flame looking like he wanted to get a little bit more. Flash in, not going to be able to do it. Instead of F-Bot turning around, first blood.
So
Nicely done.
close there. Yeah, really good attempt there. Flame just kind of a little overestimation, but that flash blown from Galio is going to be pretty important, but they're just constantly fighting here.
Oh, yeah, we're seeing Fluffy brought real down low, having to back up immediately, but Dr. Dirk able to get the solo kill in the mid lane.
Yeah, to rewind a while back into this Aatrox Galio matchup, so Galio can, or not Aatrox Galio, sorry, Aatrox Gragas matchup. Aatrox Gragas can kind of sustain his way through the matchup, as you say, really unlucky timing on that W there. Aatrox can try and trade with Gragas, but Gragas can sustain through a lot of it, and going phase rush allows him to dance around the Q sweet spots if he's able to. So you'll see pro players opt for Arcane Comet here and just going for as much Q1 trading here as they possibly can until they get lethal, which usually happens post 6. But you can see a little AP here on Gragas. So Gragas trying to find more kills here after getting two tower shots off the Aatrox greed.
What are we looking at? Maybe an Everfrost here?
Yeah, it should be an Everfrost for Galio. I couldn't see any other rune really good. If he goes Night Harvester, he's a little bit of a troll, but the one-shot damage makes me feel good too sometimes. So, but that Galio flash is really important because Sejuani definitely could have looked for some fights onto mid lane and being able to pop the W. Even if Scatter the Weak comes off, Rakan's mid here now.
Oh, he's in a bad spot once again. Boosted sandwich using that dash to be able to get away. Taunt being able to keep walking. He managed to evade all the different CC. Nicely done by Boosted there. No flash and able to escape a 3v1.
He's got the fancy feet here, but Bomba Bro's finding all of these roam timers and all these gank timers, and they're just constantly punishing this Galio that's meant to be almost a linchpin for the Stoners Nation comp, and Syndra's just raiding and hard winning these matchups now as well.
Bullying him there still, unfortunately, and you got the fancy feet there, but it's still proving to you still got to deal with the fact that it's outranging you, and Syndra right now being level 6 is looking kind of lethal.
Pharaoh calling for the salary increase already.
Oh, but unfortunately the salary rank not being called for. Here's Dr. Dirk with the assistance from Bomba Delicious, was able to get that kill.
Right now is a very interesting time because we just saw that Sejuani just get away with murder here and take that first dragon without any lane brio. So a little bit of a vision difference here for the side of Stoner's Nation, able to sneak this one objective and buy themselves a little bit of time in this losing matchup here in the mid lane.
Reminds me a lot of Dragons Bulgaria likes to take, where it's like, we have no prio, I'm gonna do it anyways.
Surprised he didn't get spotted. I guess it was just a really good vision pocket found in between that Rakan row mid.
If we saw more of the bot lane there, we probably would have been able to see what was going on that possibly could have led to that blind Drake getting taken. Whether it was because the way the bot lane was playing passively, so it just kind of like made Fluffy and Bomba Eli just be like, okay, we could just keep pushing and playing in here. Because before, Fluffy ended up, like in one of the initial trades, Fluffy took a lot of damage between the Melio W with the enhanced burn and everything, and the auto attacks with Lucian doing a lot of damage on top of that. We saw that like Fluffy had to use the W to just jump right back out again. It was brought to probably, I want to say maybe like 15% HP. So right now they were like, okay, we finally have this advantage to kind of fight back now. And then looking at the CS discrepancy now, definitely want to take that advantage, and it probably did allow for Bulgaria to just be like, okay, cool, I could just take this now. They're not even concerned about the first Drake. So if you feel that you can do that confidently, I mean, go ahead, take it.
For sure, it's a risk, and League of Legends is a game of risk in essence. So it's a calculated risk, and they are just really good at math in that moment there. Definitely need to kind of use that support prio that they yeah, a little bit of a miscall in the jungler, but it's fine. Maybe just addressing someone else as well.
It's Kiana jungling. I was saying Bulgaria likes to do that a lot anyways.
Oh, okay, I got that confused.
He's not in the game.
All good. But it's definitely kind of like a misuse of that prio that they had earlier, because they had that large stacked wave, and they used that for the mid roam, but not finding any support wards on the roam is a little bit of a misplay.
I do like seeing Dirk here, feeling really confident on this Syndra, especially with the squishier element of this Galio getting a Sapphire Crystal as a second pickup. Definitely not something you want to be facing into a Cirque Boots Lost Chapter Syndra right now.
Oh, he's crying in the club right now, just a bit, but it should be okay. The Aftershock gonna be able to make up for a little bit of those resistances that he's missing out on. I don't really like Aftershock on Galio.
Well,
in this game, it's not awful, but it can definitely find something. We do see a little bit of a place beginning here in bot lane.
But they will definitely see the Syndra roaming down bot, so they probably see the call for it. Galio's roaming down with them. Luckily, he is past 6 here, so if they do need an immediate, like, hey, jump in here, they at least have that.
Yeah,
but instead, he's going to decide to engage here. And this is why I think I don't like Aftershock on Galio. Like, if you have to use it for escaping, if you don't at least hit someone with it, at which then it completely, gets rid of the escape plan, then, like, you don't get any value from Aftershock, like, from what it's initially was basically supposed to do.
Yeah, you're hopefully he went like second win and he's getting some utility out of that, but it's not great in this case, and he's not building any resistances yet, so the rune's really weak when you don't have any resistances. So hopefully he'll pick some up at some point in this game, ideally looking maybe for like an Ebon Shroud, since he's 0-2 down 20 farm. It's one of those games, but it looks like he's going to be opting for Everfrost to try and still provide some damage that his team's missing.
Yeah, they're missing in that AP element, so that's definitely something they're going to want to look for. And right now, we're seeing this. This is where the Aftershock has a bit of value. Taunted up, boosted, getting a lot of damage on the Dr. Dirk, but going to decide to turn around as his spells have no rotations anymore. So Dr. Dirk was definitely in that advantage to start dishing some damage, but we do see Bomba Delicious jumping into counter reach, able to steal this Rift Tail from them, flashing out, but the ult coming out from Sejuani with the Dr. Dirk being there to go ahead and give a little bit more assistance. Scatter the Weak able to stun them away, gonna try to taunt them up, not gonna be able to land, and instead they get away with absolute mission impossible, able to steal that and get away with their lives.
A little bit of a miscommunication there from Galio not engaging on the stun target. Maybe he just didn't roam in time. But
also feels bad the eye hit into the smite.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't have prio in your mid lane when you're doing these objectives. You just get punished so hard by any team that kind of remembers that it exists, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta check this," and someone with prio goes and checks it, and nope, there it is. So it's kind of one of those disadvantages of sneaking it, but a really good chunk out there from Syndra.
Good chunk out, but I'm surprised they just. I mean, I guess that's just the force the back. The ult is on a fairly decently low cooldown, and it's gonna get even lower as the items start to come in. As we start seeing. Oh, hold on. You know, she's evidently gonna build into Zonia's now with the stopwatch active. Oh, ultimate used by Flame, or by Evbot, able to bring Flame right back towards his turret. This 1v1's looking pretty interesting as the ult comes out from Flame. Both being able to disengage each other, and it's going to be a little bit of an even fight there in the top side.
Flames are doing really well despite losing the first kill to Evbot. Now has big CS lead.
Ooh, that's an engage right there, but Fluffy and Eli with the mobility to be able to get away. Stunned up, but the Justice Punch was able to get him out of there, but the Cataclysm lands right on top. Using the ult to try to get out of there, Duck Butter Toast is able to go ahead and use the culling to get a lot of damage down to Bomba Delicious. Not going to be able to get away as he is able to take that kill. Still Ghosted trying to go down to the Dr. Dirk, but not going to be dissuaded. And I like this. I like what I see here. Dr. Dirk decided to go for the Leandres over the Ludens here, trying to get a little bit more of that damage down onto the tankier opponents there on the side of Bomba Bros, or on the side of sorry, not Bomba Bros, on the side of Stoner Nation. That's actually looking pretty good for them. Hold on a second. Another. Alrighty. So now
Fight.
Yeah,
keep going.
They don't want to stop here, and it's looking like Red Side decided that, yeah, we lost the Rift Herald on the top side, but we're going to take the second Drake for ourselves.
I don't know, out of everything that happened there, how Stoner's Nation got that dragon. There was so many advantages stacked in the favor of Bomba Bros there, and they just walked away from it. I didn't see Rakan really do anything. I saw J4 kind of die really stupidly. Lucian blew flash for it, so you know, maybe we take those here and we try and find some play on the solution here in the next couple minutes, but that's just a really bad misplay here in the early game from Bomba Bros there. They still have the gold advantage, but 2 dragons down into a Lucian comp is just, it's hard to see, and it's not impossible to come back, but it's making your job harder for no reason.
And I think right now what we're looking at is they're at least trying to do something to build up a bit more of an advantage. Definitely, well, I'm surprised that actually all just went straight to the Jarvan, but okay. Hold on, a little bit of a 1v1 up on the top side, not gonna amount to anything. So it's oh, wait a second. Boosted decided that he wants to engage. He does have his jungler here, but also the jungler from Bomba Bros is here on the side. Decided to turn around immediately on the Boosted. Not going to be able to get away. Ultimates used. Dr. Dirk on a killing spree. Keanu Reeves there with the support, and now you got the ADC here too. Culling coming out from the Lucian, exhausted down as Fluffy is in the back line, just trying to get something on somebody. Backed away by the Melio Q, jumping in on top of the Lucian. Not exactly the thing you want to do as Duck Butter Toast gets another kill.
Little Malphite ult here and there doesn't hurt anybody, but definitely hurts Fluffy there. Not having enough damage here to burst down that Lucian. The Melio Shield's just being a little too much to deal with it, and a good start to the fight from Bomba Bros, specifically the Rakan there, finding a good flash ult onto the Galio, but they weren't able to really finish that fight out fast enough. So a great response here from Stoner's Nation, a good roam from their bot lane to punish that slow fight.
I liked Fluffy's idea where he kind of went for the Tristana insec, jumping and ulting him towards the team, but they had to back off, and then Melio is indeed a champion with that healing and shielding.
Flash forced out by Evbot as the ult is used by Flame. I'll take that trade.
It's not horrible. Aatrox has been able to kind of scale back into being even here with Gragas, so it's not in a terrible spot, but not really ideal. Definitely a really hard thing I've been watching this game is this Sejuani hasn't done... She's gotten great with macro, at least, or lucky with macro, depending on who you ask, but you haven't ganked a lot, and this is a 3-0 Syndra, and you're the champion that has to go into the Syndra and into that Scatter of the Week. So it's your job's 10 million times harder to do this game, and there was definitely quite a few opportunities there to find something. So I wonder how Stoner's Nation is going to play out this game come that.
Ooh, nice as Wani ult landed. This is not looking good for Evbot. This is a 2v1. The cask used going over the wall. Flame able to take that kill with the assist of his jungler.
Speak of the devil there, I willed it into existence. That's when he finding some action there with the top laner from Stoner's Nation. So beginning to use that being even state to turn into some gold and recover this advantage.
I'm very interested now. This is also like I'm very interested to see how this top lane matchup goes now that this is actually completely equalized, if not now in the Aatrox's advantage technically. Just overall farm lead, kills sitting there at the same. Hold on, Tristana's now being absolutely taken down by Sandwich, but Bomba Eli there, ready to go ahead and assist his ADC if need be. Still a little bit of damage dished out by the Tristana, but I don't think it's enough as of yet for the team to really feel comfortable with their AD being able to do anything here.
They find some sort of trade.
That was really, really close.
Yeah, we get to see kind of what this Aftershock Galio can do with some levels. He pretty much just face tanked the entire Tristana combo and didn't care. So great for the 80 carries, but I wonder how that's going to work on the Syndra, who has the Leandri's finish and a needlessly large rod coming into second or third dragon here in 20 seconds. So I do want to see these top laners though unlock. They have Stoner's Nation has a TP advantage on this Aatrox, so I wonder how they're going to use it.
I think right now what Flame is attempting to do is maybe force him into an event where he can't like really back to go try to assist the team with the Drake, which is a smart move to definitely make, especially when you do have the TP advantage. Was that the? No, that was just a regular. That was a regular barrel. I was gonna say I don't think he used the cask right there, did he?
No, he did not.
But
He's
right
got it.
now, Bomba Bro is having the overall advantage for the Drake right now, but we do see. Ult comes out, lands right on the Dr. Dirk, immediately uses the stopwatch to go ahead and get into safety, but now all the CC lands right onto you, and the shutdown going right over to the Lucian, as Flame is right in the back line, able to stop anybody else from being able to engage onto the fight. This is the fight that Stoner Nation needed. Flame pushing in more, taking out the enemy jungler, and this is an immediate dragon fight, 2 for nothing.
Yeah, good catch out here from the Bola from the Sejuani there, kind of handling this Syndra by just hitting her from the range, and finding that Bola with the Syndra flash up is very unlucky here for Syndra, but good TP and the TP advantage used by Aatrox. They're able to pick up another kill and guarantee this dragon for Stoner's Nation, and they're on sole point now at 19 minutes, so they're really happy here in that Lucian comp playing for early. And Lucian also up kills now, so big advantage for Stoner's Nation. They do need to close this game out though before the Syndra is able to finish that decap.
Especially considering they were finally able to equalize the gold lead here. Hold on. Boosted was ready to continue fighting, but a TP used here by the Syndra to go ahead and get the Galio to back off. So now Gragas is safe. It looks like they're going to just switch their mid laner to the top side and probably send Gragas down bot. It looks like it's finally time to really start switching up these lanes, even though a single turret has not been taken in 20 minutes.
Yeah, they're trying to race down this Herald. I don't know if they can make it. The Tristana should be able to guarantee this. So,
oh yeah, she popped up at the right time.
Perfect. So they'll probably try and use this to take down the tower and get a little bit of advantage. But game's so even right now.
If they're trying to really, okay, so if anything, if they're trying to break open the game, hold on. Finally, first turret taken, giving it to Flame as he's now engaging onto Evbot, wanting to chase the, not able to use the dash to get over the wall, and instead you're gonna fall victim to Flame as he goes onto a killing spree.
Yeah, good 1v1 there, focusing the tower first, recognizing that it dealt a lot more damage in the immediate against that Gragas, so good target priority here. I want to see this Herald down mid lane just to kind of guarantee it and buy yourself some more space. That seems to be the main struggle that Bomba Rose has been having. They don't really feel like they're able to take and hold space in this game. They're just giving everything to the Sejuani whenever she shows her face. So they need to kind of put someone in front to eat the Sejuani ult that actually can do it. So I don't know if that's going to be like your Gragas or your J4, or that's going to be Rakan here, and then your Rakan has to be like really creative, or your team has to be really creative. But they have to find some way to deal with this, because right now it's been just buying Stern's Nation way too much space, frankly, in these team fights.
Yeah, right now, if you want someone to tank it, it would have to kind of be Jarvan. Craig's going more AP heavy.
Yeah, it looks like they're kind of turning their attention towards mid lane here. They're keeping up these standard 1-3-1 lane assignments. For now, we see that bot tier 2 really low from the Aatrox split. Stoner's Nation looking to find not really a whole lot. I think both teams are pretty content just with farming here until that dragon comes up. So we'll see how, if anyone gets caught out, or what's going to happen. I feel like some people are moving here top lane.
Oh, we do have the jungler, but they don't see that there's the other two coming up right now. Ultimate used by the Rakan as Fluffy decides to jump on in. The ultimate used by Galio to try to get himself away. Very interesting use of that ultimate to use in escape twice now, as he tries to go ahead and get more ignited down, but only brought to about 20% HP. Looking pretty good as they were able to mitigate all of that. And a lot was actually used by Bomba Bros in that engage.
Yeah, and the relentless charge from Sejuani able to stop the Rakan W on her, but it looks like Syndra found the scatter the weak. Chunking her down a bit more.
Just a bit more, but without the ult, without actually having like the ult to really threaten a kill, I don't think it was really useful for them to really try to even decide to go back in anymore for it.
That's just kind of chilling.
Yeah, kind of makes sense. Just let it be.
Yeah, just let it be. Syndra trying to get some more damage here, get some more stacks maybe on her first strike. But it looks like pings are coming down to mid lane. Stoner's Nation really wants this mid tier 1 down, because they also want this space on the map. Getting about a minute to this objective. Sport's gonna back, get some wards, try and set up more vision. Looks like Aatrox is gonna find Gragas here.
An Aatrox with the Knight's Veil, or the is it Knight's Edge, or
Nope. I believe in you.
I cannot remember these items names for the life of me.
You got the first word right.
Oh, Edge of Night?
Edge of Night.
Jeez, I don't know why. My memory's like blanking on all of these items and these abilities right now. But now that he actually has that ability to mitigate at least the first type of magic damage that hits him, I do believe that now he's much more of a threat, and it's gonna that's what I was talking about with like Aatrox in general. There comes a point where he becomes a massive threat, and it's extremely difficult to do so. And even though yes, they managed to get the first mid-tier turret here, I think that this is that point now where the game's gonna end up busting wide open, and we do see Flame immediately chasing after Bomba Delicious and able to get at least the first 2 Qs to land onto somebody, but Flame just being there was enough to push out the jungler and the other 2, and it manages to potentially be a kill here as Bomba Evbot is called out, CC'd and having a flash for his life. We're going to see Eli Wood here going in with the W, knocking up Keanu Reeves, but not going to be able to do much else. This is a fight for the soul, but this could potentially be the one big fight that could open the game wide for either side of the team. Flame trying to mitigate and keep as many people off as possible. Blue team has managed to steal the Drake, and they're managing to actually still lose the fight. We do see the culling come out here from the Lucian, and now all ults are off and Flame is on a rampage. We do see another kill, double kill, going to the Lucian as well. That's 4 members lost, as it actually ends up being a triple kill for Lucian, and Dr. Dirk is the lone member surviving, and this is looking like they lost the potential soul, but they end up going for the Baron.
Yeah, all that space there bought by that Aatrox chasing down that Rakan and J4 there, giving Stoner's Nation so much time there to work on that objective and set traps there. Little poor CC management done by that Sejuani, able to let the Gragas flash out, but still good pickup, good chunk outs, but unlucky on the 50-50, of course. Poor camera control from the League client, sadly missing what was going on up there, but that's okay, because Baron here for Stoner's Nation is just all the acceleration that they need.
And they don't want to start just funneling in one by one here. That could potentially end up being a massive loss of another team fight. But Flame here caught out by multiple members from the side of Bomba Bros. You're going to end up losing your life here potentially, Flame. I hate to say, Ignite. Oh no! You end up lifestealing so much, and that ends up actually saving you as Flame goes unstoppable. Galio taking the kill onto the enemy jungler. They're taking the Baron, and now they're taking more lives as Keanu Reeves is able to secure that kill onto Fluffy. And his Flame now chasing down the mid in support from the side of Bomba Bros, and they're going directly under the turret. They don't even need the back now. They just want to keep pushing out these lanes.
Yeah, I don't mind looking for those kind of exit kills there if I'm Bomber Bros. You thinking you can get one. Aatrox is definitely the worst person you want to meet there behind that wall. Aatrox and Sejuani are the two people you don't want to meet, and those are the two people that you do end up meeting there. We importantly see J4 has the Cataclysm, so I don't know if he had it during that fight, so to speak, but it's definitely a missed opportunity here, and we do see Stone Nation trying to get this mid inhib.
And it might very much be possible for them to at least get the mid turret and back off. This is what I meant by the fight that could potentially like really break it wide open. From the Soul, they were able to claim so many members from the Soul Point fight, and then they were from that moment on immediately to Baron. I saw that like exit kills is always a good thing to get, especially when they're like Baron debuffed, but then there's also the fact that their members were still pretty healthy at the end of taking that Baron. And as you said, they met the wrong person at the wrong time, which was Aatrox, and as close as he was to death, that Dustblade was just an absolute save in getting that last second kill to be able to bring himself back and not die in that moment. And now he's only looking even more lethal as he picks up the Sherelda's Grudge here. So now even more so, the moment he lands something on you, you can't get away from him. So this Aatrox is looking very scary, and I know we haven't really talked too much about it, but this Lucian has been an absolute monster on the back end, especially in these team fights.
He's kind of been this like silent workhorse, even though he's 6-0. He's been this silent workhorse, and Aatrox has been getting kind of a majority of this screen time here, but he's putting in work, and he's very much a threat that Bomba Bros hasn't really found a way to deal with yet. Lucian doesn't have Flash, so it's a little scary for his team fights, but once he gets that Flash, it's going to be really important.
Oh boy, I'm ready to see what Flame can do here right now as he activates the ultimate with Bomba Delicious, Eli Wood, and Evbot all here trying to take him on. Now Fluffy here as well, but the massive healing from Aatrox, now with the extra resistances from the ultimate coming in to be able to help save him. As you have 4 members up there, what are you doing when there's also multiple members about to take this turret? Dr. Dirk not going to be able to survive another auto as Dr. Doug Buttertoast goes godlike. He's able to take him down, and it's looking like they're going to take this bot turret too. 4 members were up there trying to stop one person in Flame, and it ends up potentially costing you so much more. You're able to use that to stop them, and the Baron buff does go down, but doesn't mean that you could potentially fight these members here. Keanu Reeves feeling very confident to go ahead and get that stun landed onto him. Almost sitting there and killing him there. That's a lot of damage coming from the Lucian.
Yeah, Lucian scared. Flame's going right back in though.
Yes, we do see him there. He's starting to go in. Fluffy barely able to get away with their life. Literally probably single-digit HP. No kills, but that's probably going to be another inhib as the mid-inhib was taken by one of the minions. Duck Buttertoast barely going to get away there as he tries to go in with the Flag and Dragon. Cataclysm not... Oh, Cataclysm wasn't even used. It was the Flag and Dragon trying to get the last bit of damage, but it's not going to end up being enough as another kill ends up going to Flame. We're now barreling down to the last couple of turrets here. We only see now what stands between them and this victory is the two Nexus turrets flashing out, trying to make sure he doesn't get caught up in the middle of the rest of their team. It's gonna be Flame there, but Booster Sandwich also having to flash out as he was caught in their base, probably between a couple of members, did not want to risk losing his life.
That was a lot. That has been a fight for the last like minute and a half or so.
If they decide to fight for this, Drake, it's gonna be even more. Like
it's gonna keep going. Flame here setting up in a bush there, knowing his job, just kind of stall this J4 from forcing the 50-50. I don't like that engage there by Delicious. They're trying to find something, maybe trying to take out this Lucian. missing the Cataclysm and just losing Flash for no reason kind of loses you the soul in any way to contest it. I don't mind trying to catch someone off guard is the idea there, but now that it didn't work out, you're in such a terrible spot if you're J4 because you have no way to get on to any of the backline, let alone even like guarantee something on Aatrox without killing yourself too. So it's just Bomb Rose here is in such a rough spot. I can't see them really winning. I can kind of look at Stoner's Nation and say, all you guys really got to do is just force one more fight in some slightly favorable situation. So we'll look to see how they do that, whether or not that's around Baron, after Baron, or just here right now.
Uh-oh, Dr. Dirt caught in between Aatrox in a hard place as Duck Butter Toast takes that kill and goes legendary.
There's the beginning of the end here for Bomba Bros. You've lost your Syndra, who's been one of your only reliable wave clears here. No one's really in this game from the side of Bomba Bros. So we're just waiting to see how Stoner's Nation finishes this out and how Bomba Bros is maybe able to stall it for a little bit longer, maybe give us a couple more minutes.
Potentially, but right now they're looking to try to make that couple more minutes, only maybe 2 or 3, as we do see a fight going on right now between the top and mid of Bomba, or not Bomba, the top and mid of Stoner's Nation, and the jungle and top of Bomba Bros. And unfortunately, it doesn't really amount to anything other than them seeing the Baron, the nice purple buff right now surrounding the Stoner's Nation, as they're looking to just take more because the base is also being taken. So they're just gonna try to make this even worse and absolutely give Bomba Bros hell for the rest of this match.
Yeah, they're kind of stacking the deck right now. Winion's able to take down the first Nexus Tower, and Stoner's Nation escorting this first cannon minion here. They've got so many more to work with to work on this, but an engage here from J4 is going to find nothing.
And unfortunately, it's just going to end up being a stunning ult from the Sejuani, landing off on the side, leading to 2 kills as Fluffy and Delicious go down. We do have the rest of Stoner Nation chasing them down. Roll, and that's a big shutdown, and Syndra is able to take out the Lucian. We thought this might be the fight they needed, but instead, Aatrox is still an absolute menace. And that menace decides to turn around, let the Gragas live, and focus on the Nexus. This game's going to Stoner Nation.
It's a great game here from those 2 carries that Stoner's Nation's drafted for, and a good kind of performance here from that Sejuani to make sure everything worked out in the end there. Going from 0-3 to 1-3-13, so he's able to find his way in too. Just a great game here from Stoner's Nation, as I can't see end screen, but I do see an ad here on the stream. Don't forget to subscribe with Twitch Prime or normal to receive all the benefits of not having to see ads, unlike a certain someone here.
Should be able to see it in our Discord now.
Perfect. Nothing out of the ordinary. I feel like the draft plans from Stoner's Nation kind of worked out in the end. It was definitely a little dicey there in the early game, especially around that first Herald. The coin flip not going in their favor definitely put a wrench in things in the Syndra, slowing down the game, but not enough in the end. So really well played from Stoner's Nation here.
For sure. Shout out Duck Butter Toast, looking fantastic on that Lucian. Also looked good last week, as I stated, so keep an eye out for him. He's been looking good. And what kind of changes do you think we need to see from Bomba Bros if they want to try to turn this around?
I think
You can go first.
I want to say maybe it's really hard to say what will be like. Maybe a little bit more proactivity in their vision game. I'm not sure exactly what they could have done really better. I don't think there was really a problem with their comp in particular. I just think it was more of, yeah, maybe this was just more of like how the overall game was played. I'm not sure if maybe there was just a point where the team just kind of like, maybe they just kind of mentaled out and was just like, okay, let's just wait for the next game. But I'm not sure. It's really hard to look at that like and really say like what could they have really done overall better, because it wasn't like a lot of their calls were all just bad calls. Like you mentioned before, Halfling, where it was oh, like they were trying to go for some exit kills on the Baron. Like I wouldn't like anybody would probably have made that call too, especially if you were considering that they just finished Baron. They might be weak. We could probably get something out on this, at least get one or two. But it just didn't work out. Like it seemed more like calls weren't working out for them than it was, oh, we're making really bad calls.
Right. What about you, Havlin?
It wasn't terrible. A lot of what I'm looking for in changes from Bombros here is kind of an adjustment to how they're playing. You have this J4, you have this uh, Syndra, and these two are playing really well in the early game, and they're not finding a whole lot. And they're not finding. They found something on Galio after a while, and you got him behind. But it doesn't really matter. It's a Galio. He's going to find some way to have utility, and he itemized for that very specifically. So I want to see them try and focus on either bringing down this top lane or more, or just abandoning the top lane altogether, because in the 1v1 it looked like Evbot wasn't exactly holding his own, but he was doing good enough to be able to find utility later. So I want to see them kind of shift their focus here into bot lane, because bot lane definitely had some points where they could have been exploitable.
Yeah, I'd agree. Evbot definitely known for that Gragas last season when he was playing more in the jungle. Did look pretty good right at the start. Got that first blood onto Flame. Blood Flame was able to take back control. Do you guys need a break or anything before we get into game 2, or we want to roll on into the next draft?
I'm ready.
I'm good. Let's go.
All right, then we'll get into draft for game number 2.
And already it's looking like a pretty interesting draft as we do see the bands starting to pick up here. First band, Pantheon. Second band, Camille. Third band, Zareth. Fourth band, Respect, Aatrox. Fifth band, Nico. And the sixth band and the final band for round 1 is Galio. Nicely. Some pretty interesting bands overall. So we see Stoner Nation first picking Xayah for the ADC.
I do like the Galio ban. It's one Stoner Nation's been liking a lot, just to put on the mid lane. Able to support top and bot really well with it, just with the ultimate.
Kind of a little tragic here. We're having to see two bans towards top lane there, allowing Xayah through. So a safe and hard to exploit bot lane here, and a Mumu being picked up from Bomba Bros is interesting to see. I have my own gripes as a Mumu. I feel like this is going to go jungle because that's what I traditionally see here. I feel like the Mumu finds very little value a lot of times outside of very fringe cases. And if those fringe cases are happening so often, I think something else is an issue rather than the pick being good. That's my own personal biases though. And J4 Millie response, I think is really good here, but a little bit of a missed opportunity for the Lovers bot lane where Khan being up is a really strong pick.
I do like I'm not gonna lie. We do see Zillion in response. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of actually do like seeing the Milio here a little bit more, just just for the factor of how safe Xayah is innately, and Milio, as we saw in the last game, was an absolute tear and was making it extremely difficult to kill the Lucian. So now on an already hard to kill ADC, we have even more protection. And we just went into the round 2 of bans, which was from the side of Stoner Nation, Syndra and Garen, and from the side of Bomber Bros, we saw banned out was the Olaf and Gwen. And we see that Bomber Bros decide to immediately first pick the Azir, and in response, Stoner Nation goes for the Lux.
Artillery Mage into Control Mage is always kind of it's a very traditional matchup. Lux here kind of meant to just wave clear away from the Azir and stay safe. Azir has the scoop, obviously, to be able to put Lux in a bad position, but as long as she isn't in range of it, it's pretty hard for him to do anything.
And then we do see Stoner Nation picking up to finalize their draft here is the Jax and Bomba Bros with a very interesting pick here. Pick up the Alawi to finalize their team out. How you feeling here? I'm just gonna just instantly say this. I see Alawi and I just say give the win to them, because for some reason whenever that champion, it's like Tom Kench for me. Whenever that champion is just picked, I don't know why, it just doesn't want to die.
It is pretty hard to kill, especially when you get to this point where she gets her first item. regardless of what it is, it becomes so hard to move her out of her lane. And Jax has a hard time doing that too. The most importantly, the Alawi E going through Counter Strike. So one of that big defensive thing that he has, getting countered is pretty difficult to deal with. Um, Amumu hopefully able to kind of find some way to punish that Jax when he's out of position, because he's not going to be able to do anything bot lane here realistically. Not able to do anything mid lane here realistically as well. So it's going to be a lot of farming here in the bot side of the map and a lot of action towards top is what I see in the future from these drafts. Um, to me, I favor Bomba Bros strictly because Zillion Azir provides so much innate scaling and so much innate damage that it's just really hard to counter. Ashe providing utility behind, ahead, whenever, and Alawi being this rock in the top lane that's just impossible to move. Does make it pretty hard to kind of go against this comp.
Right now, I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I'm seeing 3 games in the future. I'm seeing game 3 in the future right now, only because of like just looking at the way the comp rounded out. I think Bomba Bros might have just figured out kind of something. They just needed to change up maybe their champions around, and I don't think honestly like the Ashe providing more utility in comparison to like the Tristana in a sense. I think that's definitely a good change that they made. Giving some utility and safety and damage with the Zillion, and as you said, the overall utility and damage that you bring early onset from Azir can definitely bring some advantages that they might have been missing from the early game previously, or to help them elevate beyond the advantage that they had in the early game in the previous one. So I think we are ready to get into game. Aside from that, anything else, guys?
I'm all set.
I'm good. I'm ready.
But we'll send it on to game and get the action moving.
Ooh. Very important thing I see here as we're waiting for the bot lane shenanigans. Looks like shenanigans will be beginning here from the side of Sonor's Nation on blue side, Bomb Bros on red side. That's a Fleet Footwork Azir. And that's a really interesting pick here because that is meant to counteract this the Lux artillery mage. And we do see Sonor's Nation getting really close to Ashe. I don't know what CC's gonna lead. Looks like it's gonna be Lux route. Let's see if she lands it.
No.
Also
Looks like
good news, they can't
immediately.
hear us. Hooray.
Oh, nice. All right, so Ashe able to use the fancy feat to dodge out. Little damage being landed here by boosted, but a little far up, so that's gonna be more damage on you now. But I think gold advantage went over to just from the getting the extra hits.
Neither.
Neither, right? I think they tied up on that one.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a stall. The bot lane coming out pretty late, so no leash for the bot side. Amumu solo starting on the Raptors. With no leash is going to be pretty important, at least for pathing wise. Wards on kind of opposite side quadrants here, both on blue buffs. Going to be able to figure out where these junglers start. A little advantage here for Bomber Bros. They're kind of off vision. Their junglers off vision for longer, ideally. So little
Keanu
tidbits
just
like
goes Krugs into his enemy blue at that point, or
I could see so you can vert jungle here. You can try and split the map and focus on bot lane here, especially with the Xayah into the Ashe is going to be not that bad of a matchup for him. But ideally, I want to see a bot gank just right away. Just the old reliable. Just show up with the flag and drag and blow something just to buy some space. But looks like both junglers kind of just going to continue with the standard paths regardless.
Yep, and them hitting level 2 to get this little bit of an advantage. Decide to try to push them off the wave, which is really good for them here. Hold on, we do see Flame deciding to jump in on top of Evbot, even though the soul was taken. Doesn't matter to him. He decides to keep fighting back. This is going to be a very interesting matchup, just because it's just one of those where it's like, are you sure you want to fight into her?
Yeah, he'll have time up until like the 3rd or 4th point on that Alawi E. It's not going to do a lot of damage here. Grabbing under tower, that's pretty important.
Yeah,
at least get that 25 gold, baby.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, still fighting, but you don't want to be fighting under the tentacles either.
that's where a lot of our action is going to happen. But onto this fleet footwork Azir, which some people might see as a little bit of a troll. It's not horrible. It's going to allow him to kind of sustain through that Lux poke if it lands. It is a big kind of miss on not having any no Conqueror or lethal tempo to be able to kind of speed up those autos or make them deal more damage. So later on, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a suffer, but early game keeping that HP topped up to avoid those J4 ganks to be pretty important here. But it looks like J4's efficient.
J4 gank right now. Flash not going over the wall. Ebbot now being ticked down and gonna be slowed down by the red buff. This is looking like the first blood is gonna be going over to Flame. Nicely done being in the right place at the right time from Keanu Reeves there to be able to give the gank to give the kill over to his top laner and definitely accelerating the player they want to get going.
Yeah, accelerating that Jax, making that matchup just a little bit easier for him. That's such a funny flash there. Kind of face planting into the wall, but dodging that that knock up from the flag and drag. So
Yeah, it was good for the dodge, but you gotta be so nuzzled up to that wall. It was basically like a flash in place, other than the pixel to not get knocked up.
yeah, looks like he's returning to this gank though. On Vision, just gonna do it anyway. In the top lane here, once it. Oh.
I mean, that's definitely a good, that's actually a good play though, because you do pull Vision, and so that kind of gets allowed you to like back off, wasting time. Flashing away from the Amumu Q, definitely gonna be a good thing for him there. But now you do have your jungler here hovering and waiting just in case something does decide to go down.
The power of Zillion begins. The Time Lord.
This is where Zillion gets fun.
Yeah, Zillion gets fun where he starts just giving him and his ADC free XP leads because he's alive is really important for this pick. Gonna be able to try it. Gonna be able to lock up 6 pretty late, but looks like this J4 is back top again.
Oh man, Ebbot just getting bullied here. The flash is not there, so you're just gonna have to take this beating, man. A little bit of HP and a little bit of fighting is not gonna lead to anything for you. Another kill going to Flame.
Yeah, they're punishing this flashless Alawi just like they're supposed to, and
Also doing it before Alawi hits 6 when Alawi is scary to gank.
And kind of catching Bomba's lack in there, not able to pick up the dragon quite yet. It just came up now, so they're able to finally start cross-mapping, but this Jax is already 2-0 and grabbing a farm advantage and has that sheen into a longsword, so it'll be a tough lane for this Alawi to kind of navigate later on. But I do wonder what Bomba is going to do with this kind of deficit right now. They're not exactly too far behind to be able to scale back into this game, so I want to see whether it's like they're just going to wait for a Mumu 6 and they're trying to make some mid play. Maybe they're going to wait for that bot lane 6 and do the same thing, but I'm curious to see what they can do to stay in this game.
I can already see Keanu Reeves already walking up, about to do the gank once again, going the far end because he knew the ward was there. He's going up. If he can land this, oh, not again. He just knew that he was gonna be there, and it's another kill going to Flame on a killing spree. I'm sorry, man. This is just pure bullying at this point.
This is the island life, baby.
Seeing the ping, saying, why am I getting camped?
I am in Alawi. Why are you guys doing this?
They're doing the exact thing they need to do to stop this Alawi. Stop her before she gets Sheen or any real items to be able to manage this Jax. And punishing her without flash. They can definitely do it again. J4 able to path up top here. Might just blow it off cooldown. It'd be really funny to see. But looks like Amumu here is going to find some invade finally. And has a farm advantage from these J4 ganks. But I feel like it's just super worth for Stoner's Nation regardless.
At this point, it's like, because if you have Jax go up against the Amumu right now, you're like, oh, like Jax is gonna be able to fight the Amumu. So yeah, as you said, it's definitely an advantage. Oh, but there's 3 people here in the mid lane looking for boosted, and it looks like he got found as Bomba Delicious is able to take that kill.
Yeah, they blew Lux Flash at earlier on with that Amumu gank, and once Azir ding 6 there, they just find the fight. And a roam from Eli Wood there, able to kind of capitalize and add that slow there just to guarantee the kill. A little bit of trading here in top lane.
Yep, so now the farm advantage actually, the farm discrepancy has definitely decreased for the Alawi here as they managed to catch up to Flame, but Evbot still at a decent disadvantage with being 3 kills behind and definitely basically 2, almost a full item down. It's not looking kind of fun up here to really try to duel up here. Keanu Reeves decides that they're going to want to try to go ahead and go up against Bomba Delicious, but that arrow, instead of hitting Keanu Reeves, ends up hitting the Lux instead. Ends up hitting a target either way, but it definitely ends up saving Delicious's life as he's not able to get any more CC lockdown and he's able to walk out.
The long range E from Ev, but
The little extension from the lollipop there, finding some good poke there while behind. Ash running forward, he doesn't have the ult.
Oh, but here comes the feathers. Feathers drawn back in. Flash away from the Ash so they're not able to get snared up by the feathers. And Zillion ultimate still there and ready to be used. So the flash was definitely a good use.
Not a horrible flash. Zillion trying to stop these backs are just caught out though.
Yeah, that's not what you want, Zillion. You might have to use up the ult on yourself, buddy. Yeah, that's going to end up being the use of it, but you don't even know. They were not ready for this. Duck buttered toast. You got to try to back away. You don't have the flash. You don't have the ult. That was a good use of the Milio Q to get them away. That's more damage dropped down, but the second charge of the Moo Q is coming. That was way too long of a stay. Duck buttered toast as Fluffy's actually going to be able to take that kill. Good job being at the right place at the right time. And now Alawi looking like an absolute monster as he tries to go in. And he's able to shut him down on the 1v1. Being down items, still able to do some work. Fbot taking that kill.
Yeah, Alawi all balanced, as you can see.
All that poke adding up finally. Jack's getting a little too overzealous in the push and getting caught out finally and actually being in lethal of this Alawi is a good play from the Alawi. Able to stay in the game for long enough, grabbing that play too with the demolish. Could get punished here, but I feel like Alawi could actually do something.
Yeah, but they don't know that right now. Keanu's also here to try to help him out, but not even needed as Flame was just able to walk back up with the Divine Thunderer and take him out.
I also want to shout out Eli Wood from that bot play earlier where he set up the gank. Pretty perfectly timed on his ultimate to bait him in.
Is a good Zillion ultimate there. Kind of sad to see this move has all the kills, but Zillion's roaming mid now, finding another good roam timer.
Oh, nice. As we got it. Flash out. Azir shuffled in. Boosted. Caught out. A Bomba. Eli definitely doing some real work here as the support just roaming up on everything. Making it a hell of a day for Boosted. But Boosted going to be able to barely get away. Melio over the wall. As we saw up there, Flame with the help of Keanu able to take another kill onto the Alawi. And we do see Lux able to get away.
Yeah, a little bit of a anti-synergy as the Azir shuffle moving away the Lux from the double bomb is just kind of poor CC layering there. Bad communication. Both players probably thought she was dead regardless. So Alawi doesn't have flash, so the jungler bell is being rung by the top laner as J4 trades another objective here to gank this Alawi.
I said Alawi got a kill. Better gank her 10 more times.
And I think it's actually a pretty decent trade. They end up getting the first turret, so that's definitely even more gold in the pocket of the Jacks. 5-1-0 right now. I would actually be kind of scared. Anybody else on the team right now should probably on the side of Armor Bros should probably be looking at this like, okay, this is not looking like a fun time if he decides to come to any of our lanes. So yeah, and he's only okay, so he's building CDR, more CDR. I thought he was gonna build, or ability haste now. I thought he was gonna build maybe Tab Eyes just to kind of allow for more survivability against the Alawi and the other 80 units, but you know, all right, you go for what you want to do, man.
Not awful. A lot of your damage kind of relies on the W and Counter-Strike able to create a little bit longer. It does dodge the Alawi Ws, to my understanding, so it's not horrible.
Yeah,
you just have to dodge the tentacles.
I think it dodges the on hit, but the tentacle still slams.
Those are a little more manageable, so not a horrible pickup here trying to maximize damage against the Alawi. Alawi does have Sunder herself, so has a way back in this game still, but flashless jungler Moo finding flashless top laner is definitely scary right now, especially that you're tier 1.
And a flashless mid laner caught by a J4 Cataclysm as it drops down. The ultimate used by the Azir to help him get away. Nicely done there. As the that was a big Ash ultimate could have landed there and potentially led to another engage from far range, but instead it's just gonna end up being enough for Dr. Dirt to get away.
Moves walking mid now. It's Bombero's turn to find some lanes of
Oh
Lux.
man, and instead they end up finding Boosted Sandwich. They're trying to give this kill up easily to the Azir, and instead Eli Wood ends up securing that kill for themselves.
Both junglers taking turns here on the mid lane. Azir has a lot more escape than this Lux, so good on them. Looks like they've been able to find this advantage here in mid lane. But a Mumu picking up a lot of kills is going to be a little bit of a problem to deal with. Definitely a tanky Mumu is a good Mumu, but I'd much prefer my Azir to have an item now than my Mumu, so it could become an issue later.
At this point, yeah. Oh, and looking like we're gonna get a small little nope, just trade. Even though Jack's looking like he's doing a lot of damage, trying to just get out of that ultimate from Evbot, but jeez, does the Alawi hurt?
It's a bit of damage here from the Alawi. The souls from the E counting as another champion, able to get more slams out for free. That's a tower for her, and that's what I mean by the rock in top lane. They punished her so much, but she wasn't losing that much in terms of waves, and Flame wasn't getting a lot in terms of waves. So we see the highest farm is still on Xayah, who has been in bot lane in a lane the longest time. Well, it's actually in Azir now because Azir's farming, but you get what I mean, is these two champions have just been in the lane for longer, even though they haven't been participating in as many fights. So Jax is almost like not in an advantage right now. Even though he's 5-1, he has to play fights so much smarter than Salawi, and that's what makes his Alawi R5 really good. But it looks like Eli was going to find something here.
Man, Boosted caught out once again, but instead Dr. Dirt getting dropped on. Worthy Dust here to go ahead and try to help by healing him out. Resurrection used, but gonna end up being dropped as the Amumu ultimate ends up landing. Dr. Dirt able to get that with the last moment Q landing onto the Lux. That ends up being a big one secured there in the middle of that fight. Delicious coming in for the save with that big ultimate right in the middle there.
Good re-engage from Bomber Rose, able to keep this fight going. And Jack's gonna try again at killing this Alawi.
But right now it's not looking like a fun time as Alawi's just able to turn that around. All that damage is being dealt. Jeez.
Very well timed on the Alawi E. Used it while the stun went off from Jax, so just kind of canceled the stun with the animation.
So that's kind of the big part of the matchup. There is the soul from Alawi E just dealing so much damage to yourself after Alawi finishes it at level 9. So I don't know if Jax could even really stand in this lane anymore. Oops, I hit my mic. Cloud Dragon coming up here, and this could be a third one. Flash use from Xayah there to make it out of that play. Keeping the ultimate but flash slows on the ADC is going to make this really hard to contest. Flame has to go top lane though to respond with Alawi.
Alawi honestly looking pretty even right now. It doesn't even feel like the Jax has an advantage anymore at this point. But right now, Stoner Nation, they're starting to posture around the dragon as well, trying to get J4 to be able to do that over the wall. He's looking to try to get that steal, and not gonna work this time. And instead, Keanu's gonna have to jump over the wall, trying to get away. Was able to do something, but instead, Duck Flutter Toast caught out in the middle of everybody, but the feathers having to be drawn back, able to give you the CC to be able to escape. That's the third Drake and Soul Point secured for the side of Bomba Bros.
They're finding these dragons now, which is really important to keep themselves kind of in tempo in this game. We saw how Stoner's Nation was able to use those two kind of like, I'm going to put air quotes around the stolen dragons that they were able to kind of take from under Bomba Rose's nose and able to transition that into just so much of a lead later on in the game. And now we see Bomba Rose just doing the same thing. They don't have that much of a gold lead, but this Alawi is so hard to manage, just like the Aatrox from last game. And they're just using all that to just buy so much space. It's a good double bomb here, able to...
Nice double bomb landed there, but I'm wondering what they're gonna do once they do have a full, like... Well, they were able to get that Rift Herald there, but do they have an actual team fight for once? As we do see Flame is starting to walk down, but Keanu Reeves taken out by Evbot as he starts to chase him down more. But he's gonna turn around here. They end up getting the Rift Herald and end up killing them, end up killing the enemy jungler.
Alawi roamed. Alawi reminded everyone that she was in fact on the map. She isn't back yet. I wonder how much gold she has in her inventory right now. Probably a lot. Yeah,
Not even that
2,000
far
gold.
behind by Jax. Like only a 500 gold difference. Oh
Each kill
no.
being 200 gold, or not even 200, 100 gold from this Jax is a really good tell of just how far she's been able to stay in this game. But items starting to finish up from both of these teams. They're still quite even in the 4v4. I actually still think Stern Nation has a chance, but once this Alawi moves, and looks like she's just gonna find Jax again.
Shirelli is popped, trying to attempt to get the double bomb, and instead Flame is going to start to turn around on him. He does have to play this a little bit smarter. Now that Alawi does have the Bramble Vest, it's going to be significantly harder to sustain against her as well. So this is looking pretty interesting in this matchup now. Alawi has just gotten to that point where it's like, oh, I'm 2-5? Doesn't matter here. Try to fight me. I dare you. And that's what I hate about that champion. Literally, it's fight me. I dare you. F around, find out. And you just don't.
Yeah, it's kind of the product of the draft where one team picks like a strong split pusher, and the other team responded with an even stronger split pusher in the top lane. So now you're kind of stuck where you want your Jax, who was drafted to split push, to team fight, and it's just really hard to pilot this game if you're Stoner's Nation. So I don't exactly know where they can focus right now. Your light is this Jax team fight and able to move him around and sacrifice something for Alawi to take while you guys team fight, but I don't know if they can even stack the map in their favor right now. I do actually think Bomba could even look for a really early Baron bait. They could maybe start at like 21, 22 minutes here and turn that just on its head right away. Maybe sacrificing the Cloud Soul that you don't exactly need for an early Baron would also be an option that they can go for.
Oh boy, we do have a top side fight, but getting caught in the middle of the ultimate could end up being the end of your life there. Flame, a little bit more damage. Ebba able to jump onto you, and he ends up getting that solo kill. Now advancing to 3-5 on this Alawi.
It's like the W.
Okay,
went
so the
through
W
Counter-Strike.
does do damage.
Did not know that.
Learn something new
But I
here
guess
today. Flag and
really
drag
weird about
lands
the
onto
W.
Bomba Delicious. A little bit more damage. Ultimate used by the Amumu, keeping Keanu Reeves locked down. Flag and drag used by Kiana to get away as the Q ends up going wide. But we do see the Dr. Dirk from downtown able to land that Q and get the last couple autos needed to take out Keanu Reeves, and barely able to live for themselves as Boosted gets away. We do see the Rift Shield dropped here in the bot lane, and it's looking like Bomba is looking to try to take a little bit more.
Oh, Mumu mistiming that Q just a little
Oh,
bit.
hold on. That's
Now
the
Flame's
TP
here.
from Flame, but Flame's caught in the middle of 3 different members. That would have been bad if that ended up landing. But, oh boy, you guys might want to back up now. Alawi has arrived. We do have 4 members here on the bot side, but with the Lux ultimate used, Lux is not going to be able to stick around too much longer. So I see that everyone decides to disengage.
It was a kind of the start of Flame understanding that he just needs to start TPing everywhere and moving this map pressure, just missing that Alawi.
Oh, that could have been crazy. But Azir was sitting there ready and waiting, would have probably turned around and attempted to help their top laner. And
Yeah, and
the
this-
Azir TP coming in now.
This dragon kind of being the prize. You're missing that Ashe ult. You're missing some key ults here from the side of Bomba Bros. This is kind of your one chance if you're Stoner's Nation here. You're only down 3k right now. Everyone's pretty close in items. So let's see how they pilot this
boy.
fight.
Ooh, that was a lucky dodge on that. That could have honestly turned out really bad. His Flame is just in the wrong place at the wrong time and ends up being caught out. Oh boy, that's not looking good as Ebbot's going on a killing spree now. Bomba Bros is starting to advance significantly. Oh boy, we see him. Bomba Delicious able to caught him in the back line as Duck Butter Toast and CLG Worthy Dust are trying to run away, but Delicious immediately jumps right onto Duck Butter Toast, ends up getting the kill as Milio is then brought down by the rampage of the Alawi from the top side, going 5-5 now. This game is definitely a ballooned out of the hands of Stoner Nation, and it's looked like Bomba Bros is trying to show that they still have some life in them.
Yeah, Flame is trying to look there for a flank angle, but he's already chunked out, and Azir just kind of catching him out at an unlucky time there with the scoop. So we see him just kind of walk down that Lux there at the tail end of this objective. But I don't mind the idea there, and that's kind of what you need to do if you're Stoner's Nation. You need to burst someone with this Jax flank, but no one else on the side of Stoner's Nation seemed kind of keyed into that in the moment, and they just missed the opportunity altogether. And I think, to me, I feel like that's game. You can't really swing momentum in a meaningful way right now. Your Jax can't answer Alawi, your Lux can't answer Azir or Alawi, and your bot lane's not in a great spot. They're weak siding, they're trying their hardest, but you haven't utilized them this game, and they're just kind of sitting there with their hands in their pockets like, damn, y'all lost topside. That's crazy. And they're just waiting for the game to end, because you can't really manage a lot as Xayah here, especially with Stormrazor first. It's just a rough game here from Stoner's Nation, and a little misexecution here on trying to get that Alawi behind.
And I think that's what they're waiting for, though. I don't think it's completely over yet. We still haven't really seen the Xayah come online and being able to really like shred a whole lot, or at least being able to do the things that like we see Xayah do normally in these games, and which is why she's consistently picked. Oh, that's gonna be huge. Not enough damage gonna land onto Bomba Eli to be able to take him out, and instead it's Keanu Reeves caught in between multiple members, as we do see Fluffy and them chasing him down with Dr. Dirk. Not gonna land the Lux the binding light there, but it's gonna end up instead. I think they're gonna turn around and try to make this in 24 minute. Nope. Not gonna make it a Baron. Instead, they're just trying to make sure that no one is able to make any way into the path that they see there, and trying to get rid of any more vision. Oh, 2 more hits, and that's another turret.
I don't mind not taking it 50-50 here. You're kind of baiting this objective around. You're just waiting for this Alawi to drag someone else from the map, just kind of guaranteeing a fight, because Jax can't answer the Alawi. So you're just either waiting for those towers to fall and that Alawi to be knocking on the base's door, or someone from Stoner's Nation getting too impatient finding a pick. There isn't a whole lot else. This is just a really simple comp here from Bomba Bros, and they're executing on it really well. A simple comp isn't a bad comp, and I think that's like a really big misconception that a lot of people have. Oh, he outplayed himself.
Ooh, yeah, that was not looking good, but we do have the Melio here to help with a little bit of the sustain. Keanu Reeves uses the Cataclysm to jump right on top of Dr. Dirk, not going to really be able to do much else. The shield coming out from the Lux, not going to be able to do anything, and Dr. Dirk ends up going unstoppable. 5-0-5 on the Azir. We do see Evbot now trying to do the 1v1, but the extra turret shot's going to be just enough to shut him down. We finally see Evbot go down along with Flame, but they decide that Bomba Bros is going to translate this to a Baron.
Yeah, they found the J4 also in that top side there with the Azir, so it's not completely doomed. It's not ideal to not have Baron on your Alawi, but I think she can do just fine without it. So a little bit of a self-outplay here from both top laners at the same time there. Jack's kind of trying to predict the Alawi flash out, and Alawi just willing to kind of eat it in the moment. So a little wasted flash and a lot of wasted DPS there from Flame in that moment. And Alawi there just going for a little bit of a random tower dive in a bad spot. So costing herself her life, but kind of dying in garbage time in essence. 2 minutes before Elder up. Team already taking Baron. It doesn't really matter that much. So we see them kind of just return back to nominal.
You can see right now. Oh, we do see Flame then, and Keanu Reeves finally jumping on top of Evbot. They're doing exactly what they were doing in the beginning of the game, once again trying to make something happen, but unfortunately it's not really translating to a lead, and the mid lane is just being barreled down by the other members of Bomba Bros.
Yeah, the difference from early game and now is that
oh, Flag and Drag lands straight through the arrow as we see the Amumu ultimate used to stop multiple members.
Yeah, now that Bomba Bros is scaled in this game, this meatball doesn't matter as much. Jax is going to try and find something easier, but he's 2 levels down after all that pressure that he's got in early game. So it's just a little bit of a kind of sad state of affairs. Actually able to pick up that mid tower in the meantime. So it doesn't matter if you kill this Alawi
Ooh, and that
with
just ends up
everything.
getting.
You just can't do it. You can't do anything else on the map. After you kill that Alawi, you lose 2 towers on the top side. And so it's just like a really hard state of your
Okay,
Stoner's Nation.
Zaya able to take
Oh.
that kill onto Eli Wood. Probably what you needed there, but with the now with the Navori, definitely gonna start dishing out a lot more of those feathers with a lot more damage behind it.
Eli Wood just didn't want his captain to be the only person to die during the game.
I don't mind not ulting there. This is
Oh,
Zillion.
Dr. Dirk had to use the Zonias there, or the stopwatch there to try to protect themselves, and it ends up working as he kills Emilio and goes in domination.
I don't. Eli Wood in chat, you mentioned like I had R, but if you die with ult there, you just guarantee the kill anyway because you're still there. So you now have ult for this objective, and that's kind of like the one cope that you can have in that moment. It kind of just sucks that you got caught out there in the moment.
Oh, but right here, Duck Butter Toast is looking like he's going to end up getting caught out. Can't pull the feathers back. Is able to do so, but not going to be able to get away from Bomba Delicious as he goes on a killing spree, forcing Keanu Reeves now to flag and drag back to his base. This Elder Drake is looking like Bomba Bros.
And that Zaya used Flash to kill Zillion, and now she doesn't have Flash to get out of the Amumu, so
Sure.
Stoner's Nation losing Elder here, and Bomba Bros picking up the Exodia on the map. They picked up Baron, picked up Soul, picked up Elder now, and this is just like, it's a matter of when at this point. It's who's gonna either int first on Stoner's Nation, or is Bomba Bros just gonna kind of face roll at this point here with this Alawi.
And that's the thing, when you're a behind team like this, you usually look to the Elder Drake as something to use to potentially help you put a fight back in your favor, especially knowing that they kind of have, like, they basically are limited to how much HP they actually have now that the Elder buff is there. But because of the fact that literally every Uber buff is now on the enemy team, what do you expect to do? Now, Zaya getting caught out here, boom, exploded. Elder buff. Now another kill going over to Bomba F-Bot as they take more of the inhibs, the base being absolutely decimated right now. Flame trying to make something happen, but with the wall being brought up, there's nothing he can do. He can't go past it except hopping over. Stopwatch used to give him some time. Actually, that's the Zonias, and he's jumping right back out again. This is more of Bomba's game. They're just trying to barrel it down. The Cataclysm used to try to keep them in place, not going to really mean anything as it just ends up drawing more of them, probably just making them want to kill you guys more, and instead they didn't kill the Nexus, and that's the game going over to Bomba Bros.
Yeah, Bomba Bros kind of figured out what they needed to do. They drafted something simple, drafted a easy way to win, and they executed on it. I mean, Alawi dying 5 times before 10 minutes is not exactly the game plan that they had in mind, but Alawi able to kind of stay in the game and stay viable in the split push, and more of a failure on the Jacks of not creating more of an advantage off those kills. So much time was spent on those kills from both the top lane and the jungler of Stoner's Nation that it becomes wasted time. And the mid roams here from Eli Wood and from Delicious on Bomba, putting behind this Lux that could have been able to match the Alawi off screen is now gone. And so now you have no one to manage this Alawi. There's been no pressure bot side to get the Zaya into the game. And now your Zaya Emilio, which has been drafted for safety and backline, can't do anything. They just get one shot by the Alawi or the Azir or the Amumu CCing so Ash can walk up.
Also, with the Amumu getting a couple kills early, being that tanky engage, the Shurelias and just the speed up from Zillion, making him run so fast, making engage is pretty easy for him. But definitely well
What do you-
played to them. Now we're at 1-1 for both the teams. We need any break time, or we want to run into game number 3?
I'm good to
If
run
you
it.
want to give me a quick moment, I'll be right back. You guys
Oh,
can
sure
start the
thing.
draft really quickly,
Well,
but I'll be.
I'll toss it to the pause just so we can give them the silver scrapes real quick, you know.
All right, sounds good to me. Be right back.
All right, and we're back. Malka, you make it back?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am here.
Good thing, good thing. All right, well, we'll see how Stoner Nation want to change it up as we jump into the draft for game number 3.
I definitely don't think. I think maybe we won't put as much emphasis on the top side as much and maybe ban out that Alawi. But we're going to see that potentially once we get into the bans, as Stoner Nation this time around is going to opt in on red side, Bomber Bros being on blue. We see from the first round of bans, it's going to be from Bomber Bros, Camille, Aatrox, Galio. From Stoner's Nation, it's going to be Pantheon, Nico, Zillion. And Bomber Bros decide to opt in for the tried and truthful as they decide to give Fluffy the Ash once again.
A little surprising that they went with the Zillion ban instead of the Alawi. But I assume they think if they do pick it, they can counterpick it on the red side.
That's the general idea, and I don't think Bomb Bros should really have that big of a fundamental change in their comp. Like if it just worked, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You don't have to change anything. Like you have to change Alawi, of course, and now you have to change Zillion, but other than that, everything seemed to work out. And if all else fails, there were still multiple other things they could have done in that game outside of just like what they ended up doing, which is just abuse the mid laner and pray that Alawi finds a way back in the game. Which is
And
what
I want to say I do like the Seraphine pickup here from the Bomba Bros to give a little bit more. It still gives that survivability with that also team fight capability that it adds in with the well, to be able to land the E's and the R's from Seraphine in general. And then we do see from Stoner's Nation, we didn't really call out their picks, but we saw Zaya, Rakan, and Maokai being picked up. For once, not a first pick, but still being picked up nonetheless. A very favorable pick here from the side of Stoner Nation and from overall Valhalla Esports. And we get right into the round 2 of bans with Bomber Bros banning out Gwen and Olaf, Stoner's Nation banning out Azir and Alawi, 2 champions played last game and they do not want to see again. And with some decent ultimates on the side of Bomber Bros, they decide that they want them for themselves, and we're seeing the mid lane Silas.
the interesting selection. I have been seeing Stars Nation banning out the Xerath, so I'm very interested to see how much that's going to affect this game here. Xerath is a pretty bad matchup into Silas. Silas has a lot of ways to kind of resist it. Garen is a really good blindable split pusher. So I wonder what Stars Nation kind of wants to counter with. They banned out the classic Camille. So Yone is a very interesting option as a counter, very much kind of a hands check for the side of Stars Nation to see what they can do in this game. But importantly, no outside of a Mumu Seraphine ult, there's not that many good ults for Silas here. And to be fair, those are really good ultimates to have. So I'm very curious to see what he's going to do this game with those ults.
I was gonna say a Mumu Seraphine potentially stealing the Ashe ultimate for a very long range engage if you want to help from elsewhere where you're not completely useful to be, or if you're roaming up elsewhere and you happen to have it. Xerath ultimate might be good for artillery kill, and then again another just kill secure with the Garen ultimate. I think there's some decent utilities here for the Silas in particular. I think I'm more interested to see how the Yone is gonna play into all of this. I mean, they do have like kind of a wombo side on Stoner's Nation, and then depending again on what Silas steals, could determine how a team fight completely goes. I've played with Silas players who are like, okay, I saw that they have a Swain ultimate and they have a Maokai ultimate. All right, these are the 2 ultimates I'm gonna pick to steal every single time. And I think that's kind of that's what's probably going to be the ideal of this Stoner Nation here is just Silas pick 2 particular ultimates that you want a lot of, and we're just going to keep going back and forth on those.
Yeah, it's just going to be like a little bit more time invested. You're going to probably have to like send the Silas ult to find Seraphine and find the ultimate before an objective. And so a lot of that's going to come down to vision control with your Maokai and your Rakan. So I'm interested to see how Stars Nation's able to use map pressure and vision to be able to set up favorable fights for themselves. Overall, though, I like Stars Nation's comp still. I think it is a easier to execute comp outside of Yone. So I'm wondering how Bomber Rose is going to be able to find a way into this fight, into the Maokai, whether that's abusing and punishing him early or that's just playing around the ults properly and not overcommitting in certain scenarios.
If anything, I think we're ready to go into it. For my final thought, I'm just going to say this. Team fights are going to really be determined by the mid jungle and top combination, I think. And that's gonna I think that's how they like to really fight for the side of Stoner Nation. So they're gonna have to be really strong on that end. I think they made the bot lane a little bit more safer with the Rakan with the Zaya Rakan combo over Zaya Emilio. So we should see what ends up happening here.
Yeah, we will, and we'll hop on into this game.
Nothing nothing out of the ordinary here from either of the teams. In terms of runes, looks like Bomba Rose is going to be taking the play from Stern's Nation and looking for an early invade here just for vision or seeing if they can find anything, but Garen's leading it and your 2 CC champions are behind you at this point, so let's see if they can readjust here and find this Xayah
30
here.
seconds until minions spawn.
Mumu finding a good Q here, forcing the flashes from both the Xayah and
Oh.
Rakan here, but no kills taken there, and only a honestly useless ward found, so
Minions have
overall
spawned.
not terrible. I don't feel like this Ashe Seraphine has lethal on Xayah Rakan at any point in the first 5 minutes, so not too terrible of an exchange here. Looks like Maokai's gonna find something though.
Oh yeah, he ends up finding Garrett instead, and this is what you don't want to see. Evbot already dealt with this earlier, where he was literally being constantly bullied by the enemy top and jungler. So now it's just looking like that's possibly what's gonna end up happening again here.
Yeah, they found a big chunk out of the Garen, forcing the flash, and the early Garen passive is not that useful, so this could
Yeah.
be a little bit of a rough matchup for the Garen, but it's rough for the Maokai because he had to E-start, so really slow clear here from the Maokai. So I want to see Mumu maybe punish mid lane, punish bot lane without the flashes, while this Maokai is going to be like a whole camp down in what is traditionally a pretty fast clear.
Yona's also pretty good at jumping in and disabling that passive from Garen.
Especially after 3, you can just pop forward with the death mark, or it's not Fate Seal, that's the ultimate. I'm gonna keep calling it death mark, and disable the passive, but
Bruh.
Phase Rush is meant to be able to find something kind of as a
Ooh.
trade into that, but I don't think it's gonna actually find too much utility this game. What is Amumu doing there?
Looks like he's invading and taking the enemy raptors. I mean, if he can, Dr. Dirk at this moment, hold on. We're seeing a small little bit of a trade here onto from Flame here, but it'd be pretty interesting if he decides to like just try to like backlane, like, you know, from the back end there, try to gank onto Silas. Is considering the fact that Dr. Dirk here has actually been doing some decent damage onto the Silas in these trades. We do see the Seraphine landing flash from the Xerath immediately as the Maokai makes an attempt to gank onto him.
Yeah, we missed from that bot lane trade. We missed the Maokai flashing forward and finding that Xerath, forcing the flash out himself. So a good flash for flash here. If you're the Maokai, able to find the Xerath later on with the CC from your Silas that he provides. So a little bit of pressure kind of relieved earlier on for the Silas, but still attention is top lane. Not a whole lot.
Not
going
really a
on,
whole.
though.
Yeah, I must say not a whole lot going on the map either.
I was finding some aggressive trade, gonna find Amumu. Gonna find
Oh,
him,
but
though.
they end up getting found here. Boosted having to flash out as Amumu was able to find that Q onto him.
But without that flash, that's such a... He has to play so passive now. That's the one thing he really didn't want to lose. Maokai running down this mid lane, though. Pushing Amumu off. Not going to be able to avoid the double crab, though. And that was actually...
Very
Room was very interesting, because now it started... That, like, weird invade that Amumu did, where he diagonaled in those quadrants, is turning into a really good invade all of a sudden, with this Maokai kind of forcing these ganks constantly.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't know he doesn't know much else he can really do at this point. He just has to keep going elsewhere.
Yeah, it's
And
an interesting punish. So now you don't you don't horizontal jungle, you don't vert jungle either of them, and so now it's like it's almost like you just both go to neutral, but Maokai's being found here.
ooh, and that's unfortunate as you get caught up and CC'd a whole lot by everybody, especially when they're able to catch him in first blood going to the ADC. Fluffy taking that kill.
Got caught lollygag in there before the objective, and
Man, listen,
good flash.
Flame decides to return the favor as he ends up taking the solo kill on the Bomba F-bot. CLG Worthy does engaging on the Fluffy, but instead gonna go ahead and E right back. And this is something that they've been able to do consistently. Delicious now gonna be trying to take the Drake, but Silas is now here to help fight it out. Silas only level 5, so not gonna be able to really utilize the taking of the ultimate. Instead gonna have to use his 3 skills to go ahead and help Duck Butter Toast to be able to take out Bomba Delicious and maybe turn this Drake around for themselves. Eli Wood still around as Flame is coming up from behind him. You don't want to be a support in the middle still of the top laner, as he's able to ult onto you, and it's going to end up being a kill for Boost's Sandwich, as Stoner Nation is now turning this around for themselves and is able to take that for them and get that Drake too.
Bomba's Amumu and Seraphine are level 3 for this objective, so they're providing a whole lot of nothing at this point in the game, and it's a little overcommitment from the side of Bomba Bros. It's actually going to get found by Rakan.
Oh, that's not looking like fun time, but instead going to be able to just walk it out.
Just barely out of range there, not pulling back for more damage, but Bomba Bros just so low on levels at this point in the game, and the champions that Stoner Nation drafted just a little more useful earlier on, at least in that 4v4 or 3v4 in that case, and Dragon damaging Bomba Bros so much before that objective fight happened. So just overall a little bit of a overcommitment, turning into a lost objective and some kills, but gold's still even here with that bot lane CS lead and mid lane CS lead that Bomba Bros has.
And it does seem like the game is gonna be, this is definitely looking like a little bit more even. I think the comp change for Stoner Nation ultimately ended up being something that they needed to have happen. I'm not sure if it's gonna end up leading to the overall victory here, but like I said, I do like seeing that. I do like seeing the Rakan change here. I do like seeing that the Silas does have ways to be useful, and even before level 6 there, he was level 5 in that dragon fight and didn't even have an ultimate to still, and was still able to do something. So this is definitely looking like something that they maybe were trying to see if this change ends up working for them, and right now in the early game, it seems like it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot easier to play earlier on. They picked up that Rakan with the Xayah, so it looks like they can play a little more freely in this bot lane. I am interested to see how the Seraphine's going to be able to come back into this game. Very, very useful, very, very strong champion. Just always. So, I'm wondering how exactly Stoner Nation is going to manage that 6, but it looks like Maokai's top one here.
And once again, getting bullied up in the top side. F-bot able to use the spin to keep him away as Keanu Reeves is taking down a low health. Ult being used by both, by the Garen and the Xerath, able to lock him down as Bomba Delicious is topping on top of Flame. And that's going to be Flame getting dropped, turning that gank around. F-bot able to take that kill, and that's a 2 for nothing in the loss there.
Yeah, the Maokai still not recognizing. Looks like Stoner Nation is going to have to call off this dive. They're trying to look for it, but
I don't think it's a very wise dive to go for at this moment unless you're ready to execute it, but
neither of the bot laners from Stoner Nation willing to open up on the dive, so it doesn't happen. But the biggest issue that I always see when people pick Maokai is they don't understand that the champion is weak early. So what ends up happening here with this Rakan
they just jump on top of him. He ends up stealing the Ashe ulti, uses it almost immediately to stun up the Ashe and be able to make that tower dive work. So it wasn't that they were backing off because they didn't want to, they were just waiting for the extra help. And that extra help secured the kill, but it also means damage on your mid lane turret. So you had to trade away something, but they did get a couple turret plates down bot as well. And right here we do see Boosted jumping right on top of Delicious, but he's gonna have to turn around now with the stun missing. Ashe arrow going wide, Betatage able to land, and the Seraphine he not gonna be able to land a double time to keep the Silas locked up. So he's gonna be able to walk it away.
I'm gonna condense my Maokai rant here real quick. So Maokai is a very strong champion in the late game and with items and with tank. And when you're going this phase rush builds here, you don't offer a whole lot. besides your CC and your squishy. So what ends up happening is people go for these like late game Maokai plays at 5 minutes into the game when you're diving tower, and you're just not tanky and you don't offer damage. So you just kind of run it. And we see there that we see earlier in that top lane play that Stoner's Nation just gets punished again for just being a little too overzealous. They're not respecting the Xerath from cross map. And then in turn, the Sylas able to cross map in the play bot lane there and dive the Ashe. And while they weren't able to dive on the big wave, she did miss a wave and lose some plates. So still a really important cross map decision there.
Oh, he decides to engage in a tide to attempt to drop onto Eli Wood, but here is Keanu Reeves dropping the Maokai ultimate. Gonna get landed on, but right now Eli Wood not safe in any sense as he's rooted down and locked up, but Fluffy's able to take that kill on the Worthy Dust. And Worthy Dust ends up dying, meaning that Eli Wood could actually flash out. And now here's the ultimate from Dr. Dirk, landing so much damage and taking out the Bomba or the taking out the Stoner Nation jungler. But Sylas is now here to try to attempt to help, but Bomba Delicious is here to turn it around as well. Sylas healing up just a bit, but Dr. Dirk getting himself on a killing spree.
Split targets is the name of that gank right there. Maokai focusing the Ashe and the rest of the bot lane focusing the Seraphine, and neither of them able to kill. And now that Ashe just got to kite out those autos with the slow, and it just got turned on its head right there as no one had enough damage to burst anyone, and no one was focusing the same person, and it just turned into a whole disaster for Stoner's Nation there, as now this like generally winning bot lane that you have is now in a pretty doomed scenario as Flame's going in.
And Flame's trying to get this 1v1 off as he's trying to do a little bit more under the turret, but not going to be able to do anything because the Garen is just kind of hard to kill actually at this point with the itemization.
He's got that bramble vest there. Not amazing here, especially with Flame not going Vamp Scepter early, so it's more of the effectiveness of the armor that you have and the little extra damage that you provide from the Thorns passive, more so than the healing that Yone gets. But Yone will heal eventually, so he'll need it eventually, of course. But right now, my eyes are on the Xerath here, who is 3-0, has Leandre's, has Stopwatch, has Flash, and is just able to harass this Sylas to no end.
It has not been fun watching those first strike procs over and over and over again.
Yeah, and this, what is generally a really like playable matchup for Sylas, is just turned into this absolute just horror. Not having Flash early to punish the squishy Xerath, and now Xerath has damage to match you, and you don't have Flash anytime. And
Flame still wanting to look to... Yeah,
it's 50 CS in mid lane. It's a Flame Horizon at 13 minutes.
Uh-oh.
That's the name of the game right there. Is just how hard can the Xerath carry at this point in the game.
Turret plating will soon fall.
At this point, it's looking like the Stoner's Nation major chance is going to be probably in the team fight prowess, because they still have some insane team fight potential with the way that their ults and the way that their team works. But there's also a lot of potential from the side of Bomba Bros too, with the same notion. So right now, Flame being dropped on, and I think Delicious is going to be able to make it up, as the ult is used by Worthy Dust to try to lock down Eli Wood, and it ends up working as Duck Butter Toast is able to secure that kill. Still ghosting, chasing down after the Ashe, but the Ashe able to use the W to get away.
Yeah, using the gap closer just to guarantee the ult, because all you need is just a second there for Xayah to catch up and land the root. Finding Seraphine and Ashe, just overextending a little bit, and that's kind of the name of the game that the Xayah Rakan provides. There is they find someone overextending and they just punish you so hard with so much burst and so much sustain that they're just hard to manage. But once again, camera pans the Xerath, and there's more first strike procs.
It's like every time you see the damage, there we go. And every time you look, for some reason, Sylas is just out of nowhere at half health, and I know it's because of the Xerath. The Xerath is not a fun thing to deal with.
Yeah, it's not fun to see. I wonder how I know how Stern's Nation can find a way into this game. They need to find some good like Yone ult onto Xerath with some follow-up from Sylas. But now the name of the game is how is Bomba going to be able to prevent that? Are they going to ward their flanks? Are they going to kind of play really honest front to back? Or are they just going to wait for this Garen to like get strong enough to drag two, and then they start worrying about, you know, full proper team fighting later?
Right now, the way it's looking, I think they're gonna try to just kind of try to mitigate the Xerath as much as possible, and then, you know, focus on where they can. Even though right now the team's not looking like they're gonna be able to win with the in the objective taking volley. Oh wait, hold on, we do have a fight going on the top side. The charm ends up landing, feathers fly as he ends up missing from the flash out from as they end up flashing away, but it's gonna end up being a kill going right over to Duck Butter Toast, and it potentially could be a double if Fluffy's able to play this out. Almost looking like a double kill for him as the Lover's Lane is able to be backed away from the side of Stoner's Nation after taking the kill onto the enemy support. Oh, wait a second, hold on. We gotta respect the Xerath here. That is the wrong place. Uh-oh. Whoa, ticking down, burn. Burn, is it gonna be enough? Leandres doesn't end up taking it. Instead, the stolen Ashe ultimate ends up potentially leading to a kill for the Sylas. No, it does not. Instead, Xerath is sitting there causing harassment, and we just pan right back up to the top side.
Yeah, Sylas got Ashe really low there, but not quite enough there to kill her. Xerath's TP there trying to find something, but the fancy feat from the Lover's Lane able to avoid certain death, but this Xerath poke is just adding up to the point where Sylas can't even look off this flank there. Mumu following up though, and Garen is just becoming an issue that even Yone can't manage with that early kill.
It feels so weird, but I feel like Bomba Bros at this point, this game in game 3, they're accelerating so much faster than they were in game 2. Like, it feels way more in their control as they sit at a 3k gold lead. Right now, I'm not sure if it's completely out of the reins for the side of Stoner Nation, but it right now is looking kind of bleak.
It is looking pretty bleak, and a lot of that has to do with draft and how you're... Oh my god, that's demonic. Okay. PSA. We don't go demonic rush when we're 0-3 on Maokai.
Oh boy.
We are now squishy, and we still don't
hold
deal a lot
on,
of damage.
Fluffy's caught
getting
out by
caught.
the Lovers duo, but able to escape ever so barely, especially with Delicious there. The last thing they want is the bot lane to be literally ganged up on by 4 other members. And also with the Dr. Dirk there, that does a lot of damage right now, working on that Rabadon, as he's able to land the bandage toss onto them, but the Amumu is not afraid.
Yeah, your Maokai here is now flashless. Looks like they're finding so much poke on this Rakanna before the
Xerath
objective.
does have the ultimate if he wanted to get onto it. The ultimate that needed to be landed onto the Xerath goes wide away from Flame as the stolen charm from the Sylas ends up not hitting anything, and now we see the ultimate coming out from Xerath. Might be enough to take out someone as Edbot takes out Duck Butter Toast. Xerath able to also go on a rampage as he ends up taking out not only the Rakan, but actually the Edbot gets the double kill for himself instead while he takes out Flame, but Dr. Dirk going unstoppable. He take out the enemy jungler. That's the Drake going over to the side of Bomba Bros.
Everyone's so low from Bomba Bros there, and that Sylas is just sitting on the wing there. A little too low, though, to be able to find something. I have no clue what happened there. My mind went to Wonder in top lane in MS Paint, typing what is going on, as well as that was just so much stuff going on. There was such a scrappy fight. The Sylas Seraphine ult going wide, Seraphine ult ulting Yone on top of herself and still living somehow, and all that happening there. But in the end, it's still Bomba Bros just smacking them with their wallet. They have so much of an advantage that they can kind of make these generally game-ending mistakes, but it just doesn't matter. Amumu was solo ulted 3 people and no one followed up. The Ashe W missed to follow up on that, but it doesn't matter because they have so much gold and their draft is just so much better in this game. And now this Garen is so fed from this, I think he can just solo kill here.
At this point, he should be able to. It's really hard for the Yone to really be able to do much to him. I'm surprised that he's just backing away from the fight there. I feel like that he could actually just fight a little bit more. But I guess he's just playing it safe. He, you know, 3-1-2 on this. Oh, Fluffy was trying to attempt to help there from the wide range, but I don't think he really needs it too from the mid lane. Doesn't really need it though. Garen doing just fine against Flame here.
Yeah, it's definitely like the lack of Conquer preventing him from going for that. He doesn't want to deal with the fully stacked lethal tempo from Yone here.
Oh yeah, that doesn't sound like a fun time. Use
Looks
W
like
to go
Stars
ahead.
Nation's moving up top lane.
I mean, they probably gonna try to go for the Baron as well. They try to engage right onto Ebbot. Ebbot being locked down by the bot lane and the top lane here. Gonna try to chase him down more, but it's not gonna be enough. Unfortunately, as Yone ends up securing that kill for themselves and ends up getting the shutdown onto the Garen.
Yeah, Stars Nation finding the kill there. They killed the Garen, but Garen has such a big shutdown that it actually matters that he died in garbage time now, as the Maokai ult there is defensive to save his red buff. He's just so far behind and so squishy that he's scared of the Amumu solo invade. This Xerath is just relentlessly poking this Sylas under his own tower.
I find it funny because it's like the Amumu is like solo invade, but if Amumu's there, he's more than likely not alone at this point in the game. And I'm sure that that the Maokai realized that too. Oh, Sylas, you're gonna need that fancy feat, brother. Come on, one more. Doesn't land it. Well, he does land it. The Xerath lands it, and unfortunately, he doesn't escape it as Sylas goes down. And 6-0 and 3, Dr. Dirk going absolutely crazy on the Xerath.
Yeah, he's showing Stars Nation why you did need to ban it over a lot of other champions, but still, it's such a just doomed scenario. I see these Maokais and I see these Sylases here, and I don't think they're bad, so to speak, but there's so much that you could have done earlier on. And now we're at this point where we tried to play for, realistically, we tried to play for 0-0-0, and we're so far from that at that point that we don't know our game plan. And now the enemy team getting kills in garbage time is mattering so much more. And it's not just like the gold, the 300 gold that Xerath gets from the kill, but it's all those waves that he pushed and all of this first strike gold that he got and the mental edge and the amount of movement that he caused on the map towards him. You move Flame down bot side, and so now he bought more space. And I think the Xerath can just do whatever he wants. Now I think this Garen can do whatever he wants, but we see this Yone on a flank TP.
Oh yeah, they definitely want to try to go after the Xerath. He's been an absolute terror this entire game, and I think they finally want him. They're going to try to land something on him, but 2 ultimates end up not landing at all. And instead, he's going to have to use the Zonias, but he's locked up between 4 different people. Dr. Dirk probably finally going to have to give up his life, gives it up to the Sylases. That's a massive shutdown. Bomba Delicious now trying to get away, but the Seraphine here to go ahead and help and end up giving their life instead. Now we have a 1v1 between the AD carries as the Feathers go ahead and fly. Duck Butter Toast nearly losing out.
My hands are on my head. So it's a little.
Wait a second. Oh, no.
Keep going. And now the Garen's also in the top lane here. So this is Bomba's game plan here. Is they're just relying on this Garen now.
It looks like they're trying to force a lot of split decisions right now. Like, do we stop the Garen? Do we try to go for Baron? Do we let them get Baron? Do we go after Dr. Dirk? They're getting split up in a lot of their different decisions that they have to make. They know where different targets are, but they don't know how to execute upon each mission and what to triage first.
So I'm gonna keep it real. I think that is the first time that I've seen 2 people back to back at the same time miss a Mumu ult. That's up there. Like, yes, Amumu got the 3-man ult there, but he got the 3-man ults when his Xerath was just starting Zhonya's, so he popped out and everyone was okay to go. And Sylas got the Amumu ult and ulted during the Zhonya's, so it's a little sad and just a big misuse of CC there. Not able to save them, and Eli Wood ending up having to sacrifice himself to keep Delicious alive for longer. Looks like Bomba Bros, though, turning their eyes towards this objective, trying to finish that soul point. Stars Nation just electing to give it, actually. They can't cross-map. Yone able to finish up that Hull Breaker, matching Garen's, but he's a level down, and I don't think it matters as much. Xerath is just...
Gonna go ahead, Artillery Mage himself, trying to get a little bit of damage off. They're launching the arrow, not gonna land onto anybody, but Garen is here ready to fight off the bot laners.
I'm going to call out while we have a slight downtime for the team that ends up winning. If your players are here and watching, we'll do the MVP vote. So if you want to do the interview, if you're around, we can still do that. If not, it'll be okay.
Yeah, for sure. I think in terms of my early game, like, series MVP, it's going to Dr. Dirk. It's been such a great series from him, using all of this mid pressure that he's been generating every game effectively and being constantly useful. No matter what champion he's on. Game 1 was a little sad, a little bit more of a KDA game, but the game was so far out of his hands that it's okay to kind of just, you know, put your hands on your head and just kind of call it a day in that one. But he's definitely kind of rebounded, and rightfully so, in this series.
Definitely can attribute that to his team starting to rebound. Definitely rebounding everybody else too. Like game 1 definitely didn't look good for Bomba Bros, I'm sure. But then they decided to, you know, they kind of managed to recap their mental and get into these next 2 games. And I'm sure they're rallying around who has shown to be a consistent strongman for them, which is their mid laner. So I'm sure that that's definitely been a big help. Bomba Delicious ends up using the ult here to go ahead and keep the Yone locked down, as the Seraphine ends up taking it with the ultimate there in the end. And that's going to be Yone going down. That's Flame down for the Stoner Nation. So that's looking like the Baron for the Bomba Bros.
Yeah, they find this Baron Zereth, though, gonna get caught out here by this Rakan.
Oh man, but Zereth, that might have to be your life for the... Oh, wait a second. Oh, that was a lot of damage dished out. But that's still a lot of time that was distracted to be able to keep them off the Baron. Baron now giving off to the Bomba Bros. They're going to have to turn around for this. A noble sacrifice from Dr. Dirk, but it ends up leading to a very needed Baron here for the side of Bomba Bros.
A noble but unneeded sacrifice. You're kind of walking around in a dark map in a fairly important time, so I don't like him doing that. You don't need to be there. You can definitely just reset at that point. Regardless, still a great Baron find from Bomba Bros here. Good Asher was able to guarantee it, burn it, run away, live to fight another day, and the Seraphine has got the Rylai's now. I don't know when she picked it up, but she's got the kind of self-root combo here that the Ashe Seraphine is meant to be picked up for. So now she's even more self-sufficient, and we're kind of just in the waiting room.
So that means if Ashe lands slow, she lands the single E. That means it's a stun now.
Yes.
Oh,
Or
that's...
root.
No, because she
The double-
lands it... Because it's supposed to stack up to the next one for every single one. But hold on, we do see Ebbot in the middle of a 1v2, being able to back them off as he's attempting to split push. The Ashe arrow ends up landing onto the Silas, but not going to be enough for Ebbot to continue on to this fight. A stolen Amumu ulti here, right in the middle of their turret. He's going to attempt to go ahead and use it. Maokai ultimate use, stolen Amumu ultimate use, caught in the tower. Tower now destroyed as Ebbot tries to run away. The red side going to go ahead and try to do more. Boosted Sandwich goes ahead and goes into the zone use as the Maokai ends up dying, and Boosted Sandwich also ends up giving their life as Dr. Dirk here has to go into the zone use to avoid the Yone, and ends up not giving up his life as 2 members from the side of Stoner Nation ends up giving their lives up on the top side.
Yeah, it's slow root stun on the Seraphine. So she can self-stun, and on the one it just roots.
Oh, okay, so
if
if Ashe slows her.
autos, yeah, then it's a stun.
Ah, oh,
Okay.
okay.
On the one.
Okay,
Well,
so yeah,
no.
it does work that.
If it's a really weird order. I don't like that it works like this. So if Ashe autos on the one, it's a root, but now on the one on her own, it's a root, and on the double, it's a stun. Regardless, it's still good, and you like it.
Yep,
You just want it.
It still works.
It still works. We're happy.
This is the new Lucian Nami combination.
I think Lucian Nami's still good. Right now, I think the big Lucian Nami combination would be Jinx Milio. That is such an obnoxious lane to deal
Oh
with.
yeah,
right
W
now.
Rocket's extended
Yeah.
range, just
It's
not
so
any fun.
stupid. I hate
Burn
doing
damage
the-
on top of it.
Yup. And then you essentially merely get to press W and E, and then you know, you win the game. But hold on, we see Yone here TPing for a flank. Rakan's in.
Rakan right from behind needs to land on just the one person as we see the long range Seraphine ultimate end up to land on Dr. Dirk. As he lands on the 3 more members from the side, Dr. Dirk able to slay Keanu Reeves before being taken out by Duck Butter Toast. The enemy AD carry able to start doing more as he tries to get more damage down, but Amumu able to take out that kill onto them as Flame is down on the bot side under them. This is gonna be the soul, it looks like, for Bomba.
Yeah, I like the fight setup here from Stoner's Nation. It's kind of like a last-ditch effort. This is the best angle that we got, but the Rakan CC is so underutilized there, not landing the W, so you just have this like really short charm time, and you only find that Seraphine charm that you grabbed earlier onto 1, so we find the Xerath here, but the real Seraphine finding a great 3-man here on the back end, just in the middle of that, in everyone's face now. So just a great response from the side of Bomba Bros there in that fight, staying calm and finding the better angle.
Which ended up ultimately allowing them to win that fight, and the winning of the fight now secures them the Chemtech Drake, or the Soul at the very least, which
Yes.
at this point is, I'm not sure if it's really considerably a strong Soul, but
The dragons themselves are a lot stronger than the soul in this game.
right.
So it's the heal shield power is really effective on your Seraphine, essentially redemptions at this point. I know Garen's pretty happy with the soul because you gain bonus tenacity and damage resistance. I think it's just damage resistance on the below 50% HP, which he's really happy with. So he's really hard. That Garen and Amumu are really hard to kill, and this Xerath can live for a little bit longer, and so can the Ashe. So it's not awful. I don't think it's as bad as everyone says it is, but it is definitely the worst soul that we have right now.
I definitely want to say that the Jack Show is an item there that probably is a little underrated in how much tankiness it actually gives tanks in general.
Oh yeah, especially this game.
Oh yeah, like
Just in
Amumu
the
can just
thick of
go
it.
in and she just face tanks and just sits there while it does damage with the Sunfire. That's why I like this particular type of build. It's like, it's just, you know, a bunch of sustained damage. Oh, Amumu Q lands, ultimate lands, a lot of artillery coming out from the Xerath there. Able to get that last shot right on the Duck Butter Toast. He ends up slaying the life. That's already 1 kill down as Fluffy is locked down by Keanu Reeves, but not going to be able to do enough damage to be able to lock onto him. So he's able to run away ever so barely. Oh wait, jumping on over to him. Fluffy ends up getting slain by COG Worthy Dust, but that's going to be Keanu Reeves getting slain by Dr. Dirk as the ultimate is used by the Yone to go into the back line, taking a lot of damage. Bomba Ebbot's going to be able to take out Boots' Sandwich as we do see Rakan get slain by the Seraphine. We see the TP now to the top side with the super minions now barreling from the top side onto the Nexus turrets. It's looking like Bomba Bros might have just secured this game.
Yeah, that's game for Bomba Bros, and that's a great comeback in the series from Bomba Bros here, keeping calm and kind of could be a very difficult game for them, and what is on paper a difficult game is they find this Yone here, trying to pick up a little more KDA. Seraphine finding the Xayah in the backside of that fight. And that's Nexus gone, and that's game for Bomba Bros.
In the series as well,
to
to Bomba Bros.
We'll jump
we
to
as-
the score screen.
We as casters have kind of like identified our MVP of the game, and that's pretty easy. But I kind of want to turn to you, Malco and Hailstrom. Who would you kind of say is the unsung hero on the side of Stoner's Nation?
In the meantime, I did put up the MVP vote in the chat. You got 3 minutes, so get your votes in there. See who you calling
The
out.
unsung hero for the side of Stoner Nation.
Yeah, who would you be your MVP for them?
That's actually a very difficult one to give because I really don't think it's the fact that the teams got out, like they were like out completely matched by their enemy, and that's why I'm like, it's weird. Like I know like Flame had a really good performance, but I feel like a lot of it was enabled by Keanu Reeves and how well they were doing in the jungle. In that first game, I honestly want to say it was definitely on like Keanu and how active he was in the jungle to get those advantages for them. So I think for Stoner Nation, they should definitely give it up to their jungle.
Yeah, I think Yano did well. I'd also give consideration to Duck Butter. Played very well game one and was definitely trying to position and get that damage out in the last two games. So he'd also have a consideration, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Oh, the Lucian game. Yes.
Both good options, but kind of focusing on this game here before we get our MVP here into call for an interview if they like. Um, Overall, still kind of Bomba is kind of figuring it out here after that game one. Kind of easier to execute comps are what matter more. So looking into playoffs, do you think any adjustments that they need to make? Is there any champion here that you think this is Bomba Bros? This is the champion that's Bomba Bros here when they're kind of looking to the future.
They seem to really like that Amumu. As we know, the green junglers for our league are OP, so definitely staying on theme there.
We're gonna see a lot of Amumu Xerath bans coming out against this team, especially in that probably that 1-2 spot. I think that's what's gonna end up happening for them. They were able to the Amumu, even with some of the like bandage toss misses, were still was done very well. And so you might want to for Bomba, if you're going up against them, you're probably looking to make sure that Xerath doesn't go through and that Amumu doesn't go through.
For sure.
Yeah, for mids, if you can punish, looks like Dr. Derek likes more control mage. So if you have some kind of good punish there, you could have counter, but definitely looking like Azir and Xerath both looked very good.
Syndra, did Dr. Dirk play the Syndra? No, that was
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dirk played
Syndra game
Syndra
one.
game
that's
one.
still no, that still looked pretty good too, even from there.
And Dr. Derek did indeed get the MVP. If you're around and would like to do the interview, jump in general chat or something, and I'll pull you up. If you would not, just let me know.
All right, just say it in the Twitch chat.
If bot says get in here, sir, your captain has called you. Sorry, I'm getting an error. Can't hear. Yeah, jump in the chat. I'll pull you up if you want to do an interview. Jump in chat. There he is. Alright.
Oh, I see him, yep.
Move to... Are we in casting or production right now?
Give me 2 seconds. Be right back, guys.
Production.
We are in production.
Yeah. Hello, Dr. Dirk. Well played in the series. Congratulations on the victory.
Thank you. I gotta adjust you guys' volumes here real quick, just to make sure I don't blow up my eardrums.
Blow up all the eardrums.
All right, we're good.
Halfling, you want to start off with any questions?
So I know this is a VOD, so
Yeah.
be kind of a lot of these questions are gonna be pretty weird, but so can you recall these like adjustments that you guys made in draft, and what exactly were you guys kind of like calling for after that game one?
So after game one, we kind of realized like we had an advantage mid. Like I was able to get a good advantage on the Galio early, but it's being Galio, it's too hard to kind of punish even if you have an advantage, just because he can still roam, he can still affect the team. It's too easy to play from behind with the Galio. So that was probably the biggest thing, was banning that, and then also then getting Flame off the Aatrox. We kind of like, as soon as he locked in the Aatrox last there for that first game, we were like, Evbot was immediately like, oh no, we forgot about the Aatrox, and the rest of us were like, we talked about it beforehand, but you weren't in chat when we talked about it, so that's an oops. So that was like the biggest thing, was just immediately realizing like we get rid of those, and then also grabbing ourselves the Ashe. Fluffy said himself afterwards. He said like he was too sleepy for all of those games. So kind of getting him onto something that doesn't have to all in as hard as like Tristana, I think helped a lot as well.
Yeah, so committing to that weak side bot seemed to kind of help you guys a lot, and I'm pretty low on questions here. If Malco or Hailstrom, you guys have anything else to kind of supplement this?
Yeah, looked like those control mages working out well for you. The adjustment, getting rid of that Aatrox, seemed to work. Um, how much planning went into the draft? Sounds like you guys were just talking about it before the game. Did you like plan it out throughout the week, or was it just kind of the day of?
I think we probably chatted about it once during just a practice game or two, and then I think we were in chat maybe for an hour, like an hour. We met up in chat maybe an hour before the game, maybe between half an hour to an hour. And I know Eli the Wood, he like he like pulled up an entire draft and was like trying to walk through like potential scenarios of it all. So we did actually have like a fair bit of kind of prep with it. I don't think we realized how prominent the Gallia would be, or like how much kind of prio that would have. And so I think once we kind of realized we could just get rid of that and then ban out Flame as much as we could to get him on something that's not quite as comfort level, was really good. And we also realized like after the first game we should have taken red side first game just to give Evbot counter pick.
Right.
Would have helped a lot kind of into the matchup with Flame. So we kind of realized that. Evbot himself was like, I don't know why I said blue side, but he just kind of defaulted to blue. So we kind of realized that as well after the first game.
Yeah, that's fair. In game 2, how much were you guys flaming Evbot for inting so hard?
So Evbot, if you've played with him, he will mute if he is getting kind of tilted. And so he was kind of counting the times he was getting ganked every time it happened. And when we VOD reviewed yesterday and talked about it, and he was like, "Oh, here's the third time at 6 minutes." And so he was kind of counting, and I think after like the second or third times when he's like, "All right, I'm just gonna mute so I can focus and play. You guys just get advantages elsewhere and play the game." And he just muted up and played the game from there. And then I don't know, like 3 minutes later, he got a solo kill, and we were like, "Okay, sure, go off."
There you
But
go. Worked out.
yeah, no, we didn't flame him too much, but we did meme on him that he was kind of the only deaths for the team almost the entire
Eli
game.
Wood was there to help him out at the end.
Yeah, he's got him. He's looking out for him.
Melko, you got anything?
Honestly, I do not this time around. You guys actually were covered up a decent amount of everything that needed to be covered up.
Well, sounds
Right.
good.
I
What
got one
played
more.
this week? And we got this, I believe now, 3-week break, so we're going to be on the new patch for the playoffs. So practice up, and we'll have some more exciting series in the new year. But thanks
Oh,
for joining
yeah.
us for the interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Have any closing remarks before you head out?
We're winning it all. That's what I'll say
I like it. I like
for
it.
sure.
Easy wins.
Yeah, it's easy claps.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. All right. You guys got any closing thoughts before we end the stream?
I think I'm good. Aside from everybody, thank you guys for all coming out tonight. Thank you guys for watching. As announced earlier, there was more needed for the in-houses at Valhalla right now. So if you are still looking to join in, or if they're still going on, by all means, go ahead and jump into the in-house chat, and you guys should be able to get that going. Anything else from you guys?
I got nothing.
Think got it covered. Just the standard. If you got your primes, toss them our way. We'll appreciate it and keep streams going. If anyone has any series that were just particularly entertaining in the past couple of weeks, gameplay, since we're gonna have this long break, I'll be trying to get as many VODs done as I can. I have most of the old patches saved, so I should be able to do a fair amount. Just if there are any good ones, hit me up and let me know to check them out. But thank you all for watching, and have yourselves a good night.
soars the colors high. Evil thieves and beggars never shine.